Afternoon. Such an amazing party having here. Tusimame tafadhali. Tusimame tafadhali. If you can't hear this, 1, 2, 3, 1, go, 1, 2, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Come on, I can't hear you guys. Good afternoon. That's better. Excellent. Such an amazing crowd we have this lovely afternoon. Asanteni sana. Indeed, this is a great moment for all of us. And today we are celebrating the consistency of more. And she is an advocate, a lecturer, and yes, indeed, she is a great author. I won't say who she is, but I do think that at the back of your mind, you do know what I'm talking about. So I'd like to call Fadili to come on stage to lead us in the word of prayer, and then thereafter we'll be up standing for the two national anthems.
Hello everyone. Hello. I trust you're well. My name is Fadili Manyasa, and I'll be praying in Islam, and my counterpart will be praying in Christianity. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum. La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. Man dhal ladzi yashfa'u 'indahu illa bi'idhnihi. يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما هو العلي العظيم آمين.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we come before you this afternoon. We thank you for everything that you have done for us, the fact that you have come, and we're here today to celebrate Ms. Gladys Mwangi. We pray that you may be with us, that you may walk with us throughout this launch, and that your blessings may go with us even as we begin. And in the end we shall come back to give you praise and to give you thanksgiving. As the mighty name of Jesus Christ, to do believe and pray. Amen.
Thank you very much.
tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you very much indeed. We can now take our seats. Asante sana. And
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I know it is cold, but we are in KU, isn't it? In KU, you must be happy. Thank you so much. Our Honorable Justice Walsh, the CBS retired judge, and our chief guest, Honorable Justice George Odunga, our Court of Appeal judge, the Registrar of Court Annex Mediation, Ms. Caroline, in her absence, Mr. Eric Thouri, our President, the Law Society of Kenya, Dr. Gibson Kamaukuria, the Senior Counsel, Dr. Victor Lando, the Dean of Yara Law School, Yara University, Ms. Ann Kanuche, the Assistant Director, Advocates Training Program at the Kenya School of Law, Ms. Lilian Kachoki from the Brain Credit Limited, Ms. Charity Kiyoko from Lavington Hardware, Mr. Kariuki Kinywa from Nakani Hospital, Hospitality Solutions, Mr. Kimati Kameshu, Advocate of the High Court, Mr. Peter Mwangi, the Operations Manager from Mingo Holdings Limited, and our DVC representative here, the members of the Management Board, Kenyatta University, and the members of the staff of various law schools present here, the Executive Dean present here, and members of Kenyatta University School of Law present here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so much delighted to welcome you to Kenyatta University School of Law, Arts and Social Sciences Partners Campus, for the Symposium and the Book Launch 2023. On behalf of all members of the staff at Parklands Campus and the entire university community, I would like to thank you for accepting to grace this event. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event is historical to the school. It is a defining moment where we celebrate our own, Ms. Gladys Mwangi. I know you know her. For authoring a very important book on civil litigation in Kenya. Civil litigation is a very significant but complex area of law in Kenya. For the benefit of our brothers and sisters in the House who are not practicing advocates or lawyers, civil litigation is simply a term that applies to any legal dispute where two or more parties are seeking monetary damages or specific performance. It does not include criminal litigation. So there are various types of matters involved in civil litigation. A dispute may arise over medical malpractice, over product liability, personal injury in case of divorce, construction liability, and etc. Ladies and gentlemen, it is significant to know the following four aspects. Number one, Ms. Gladys Mwangi, the author of the book that we are about to launch today, was titled The Civil Litigation in Kenya, is one of our school teaching staff members. The book that is about to be launched resonates with one of our core units prescribed by the second schedule of the Legal Education Act 2012, and of course taught at the bachelor's level here in Kenya University School of Law. Generally, the book examines various rules and procedures of how they are applied by the courts on a daily basis. It analyzes various aspects, particularly the steps that parties undergo in civil litigation, from preliminary steps before filing of a civil suit. It also talks about drafting of pleadings, filing, service, pre-trial proceedings, hearings, appeals, all the way to delivery of judgments. So as you note, this is one of the most important books that we are about to launch. Besides, a whole chapter is also dedicated to alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. Number two, Ms. Gladys Mwangi has been a very hard-working academic member of staff, highly motivated, persistent, and intelligent. Besides having a high degree of integrity and a cheerful personality, she is one of those rare individuals who takes initiative with equanimity, follows and also follows instructions. As such, it's not a miracle that she was able to author this very important book that we are about to launch. Number three, Ms. Gladys is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. She is a mentor and is currently a Deputy Director, Student Affairs here at Parklands campus. Despite her busy schedule, she has managed to author one of the most important books in the law profession. Ladies and gentlemen, I once again welcome you all to the University School of Law. And with those few remarks, and without further ado, let me now welcome the Executive Dean of the school to make his brief remarks. Thank you.
Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Awoch, EBS, CBS, retired judge, who is our chief guest, the Honorable Justice George Babinga, Judge, Court of Appeal, Registrar, Court and Next Mediation, Ms. Caroline Kendagor, Mr. Eric Yuri, President, the Law Society of Kenya, Dr. Gibson Kamau Kuria, Senior Counsel, Dr. Victor Lando, Dean, Riara Law School, Riara University, the management board members, Kenyatta University, here represented by the representative from DVC Academic, the management, the deputy executive dean, and who is in charge of this unit here, the Kenyatta University Law School, Dr. Tom Ratemo, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Executive Dean, I'm delighted to welcome you to Kenyatta University School of Law, Arts and Social Sciences, Parklands campus for the symposium and book launch of 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event is very significant in the university calendar and for the School of Law in particular. It is the moment where we are recognizing Ms. Gladys Mwangi for working hard to come up with an important title on civil litigation in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, the book we are about to launch is very significant as it resonates with one of our core units prescribed by the second schedule of the Legal Education Act 2012 and taught at the Bachelor of Laws programs LPL 203 Civil Procedure here at Parklands campus. Ladies and gentlemen, the topics discussed in the book merit our attention as a scholarly community. Besides, the book offers an opportunity to pass legal knowledge and expertise to an upcoming generation of Kenyan lawyers, and for this we say, hongera sana Ms. Gladys. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe all of us will benefit in one way or another from not only after reading the book, but also from listening to our chief guest, the Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Alwoch, the Honorable Justice George Odunga, Ms. Gladys, and the rest of the invited experts present. Ladies and gentlemen, I extend my appreciation to all of you for accepting to grace this great event. Asanteni sana, thank you, and I return the program to the Master of Ceremony.
A big hand to the Executive Dean, ladies and gentlemen. Before I call in the next speaker, pardon my manners. My name is Jeff Juroge. I am your MC today. Our honorable guest of honor, thank you very much indeed for gracing us this occasion. It is with a spirit of pride that we are here in respect of Gladys Mwangi as we launch this magnificent book, Civil Litigation in Kenya. So I'd like to call upon my co-moderator and advocate for excellence, ladies and gentlemen. Let's appreciate Kimathi Kamecho.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the event of our dear Gladys, who I have the privilege to have shared a law school class with her for 4 years at the university. I would like to acknowledge all our seniors who are present here, the Justice Odunga, Lady Justice Alwoch, Senior Counsel Kamau Kuria, and I'm told there may be Senior Counsel Future, and I see our Vice President of the LSK, our President of the LSK, and then my brother Wanyama, who plies his trade at Marsabit Plaza. Friends, we are glad to be here, and we ask of you to partake of this event as we celebrate Gladys's diligent effort. Many thanks.
Thank you, Advocate. I would like now to introduce the student leader, Mr. David Murakaru. Please, on the stage. You see, where I come from, the word Murakaru means that this person is always angry, where I come from. But my first time interacting with him, he's a very jovial, good man. So, and he looks fit for the role of a student leader. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Chief guest, Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Alot, retired judge, Honorable Justice George Odunga, Judge of the Court of Appeal, Honorable Caroline Kendagor, Deputy Registrar Court Annexed Mediation, Dr. Gibson Kamau Kuria, Senior Counsel, Mr. Eric Theuri, President, Law Society of Kenya, Dr. Victor Lando, Dean Riara University School of Law, Ms. Anna Konuche, Assistant Director, Advocate Training Program, Kenya School of Law, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Daniel Murakaru, but as Jeff has introduced, I'm not a sad person or an angry person. I'm a happy person, and it is indeed a happy occasion, so please wear your smile on even as I deliver this speech. I stand before you today as a final student from Kenyatta University School of Law, eagerly anticipating my graduation and soon joining the ranks of the esteemed alumni of this great institution. I am deeply honored to have been given this opportunity to address you on the civil litigation experience at Kenyatta University. On behalf of the students and alumni during this momentous book launch. First and foremost, I must express my heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Gladys for extending this invitation to me. Ms. Gladys, you are the epitome of a great teacher who not only imparts knowledge to your students, but ignites a fire within them, inspiring us to aspire for greatness, trust the process, and find our true selves in the legal journey. For many of us here at Kenyatta University, we encountered civil procedure at our second year of university. And some of us realized that this unit is a daunting one because it requires us to draft demand letters, plaints, and defenses. However, we were fortunate enough to encounter Ms. Gladys Mwangi, who enlightened us on civil litigation in Kenya. In her enlightening civil procedure classes, Ms. Gladys patiently guided us through the foundational aspects of civil litigation, such as jurisdiction, which some of us might have initially underestimated, but later realized its crucial significance. This is because, as it was rightly held by Nyarangi J.A. in Honors of Motor Solilian, jurisdiction is indeed everything in civil litigation, and without it, the court has no option but to put its tools down. Ms. Gladys instilled this vital understanding in us, telling us that to always remember not to embarrass our clients by missing out on a simple yet crucial aspect of jurisdiction. Beyond that, Ms. Gladys took us through fundamental principles such as the bars to a suit, res judicata, the oxygen principle, and the joinder of parties. She also carefully taught us how to draft a plaint and its accompanying documents, as well as the defense and its accompanying documents. I distinctly recall her giving us a group assignment to draft a plaint for one Mr. Ole Sankale. And most of the groups, however, did not correctly draft the plaints because, as you know, it takes time to master the art of drafting this document. Ms. Gladys, nonetheless, was patient, giving us ample time to improve our drafting skills, knowing well that this would be an essential foundation for our future endeavors, such as the ATP Civil Litigation exam at the Kenya School of Law. This solid foundation provided during our time at the campus level has eased our civil litigation journeys as affirmed by numerous esteemed alumni. They acknowledge that without this strong basis, they would have faced considerable hurdles in their legal careers. Today, it thus fills us with immense joy as students and alumni to witness the launch of a book that meticulously addresses civil litigation in Kenya, authored by none other than our beloved lecturer, Ms. Gladys herself. She has been the guiding light for most, if not all, Kenyatta University School of Law students because her deep understanding of her struggles and areas of improvement is reflected in her book. We are confident that this book will be an invaluable resource for our studies and our future roles as legal practitioners. It will aid us in our revision as students and will serve as a compass guiding us in the legal field for years to come. Ms. Gladys, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to you for writing this book, which will undoubtedly shape our knowledge and practice of civil litigation. On behalf of the Kenyatta University School of Law students and alumni, I express our eagerness to interact with this book and glean from its wisdom. In conclusion, I would like to thank all the esteemed guests present here today for your support and encouragement, and for joining us in celebrating this remarkable achievement by our beloved lecturer. Let us cherish the knowledge imparted to us by Ms. Gladys and utilize it to build a better legal future for our beloved nation, Kenya. Thank you, and may this book launch be a resounding success.
Thank you very much, student leader. Our chief guest, allow me to acknowledge the sponsors that we have here. And our sponsors are connected in one way or the other. We have the hospitality, mwingine anauza mambo ya kujenga, na mwingine pia anatupatia pesa. Sio ni mzuri? It's good to acknowledge, na mwingine anatupatia maji, Aquawell purified drinking water. We have the Dream Credit Limited, financing your dreams for a better life. And we have Litigation. But ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the CEO, Mr. Karaoke Kenywa, Litigation Hospitality Solutions. Let's appreciate him as he comes on stage. Welcome, Sana.
Good afternoon. It's indeed good to be here. Be a little bit lighter. You know, more often than not, when we interact with these gentlemen and ladies, we are normally not in a good place. Right? Tunakuwa tumefinywa. So, thank you for the invite. We are really grateful to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, all protocols observed, good afternoon. I stand here before you today with immense pleasure and pride as we gather here to celebrate the launch of a remarkable book and engage in thought-provoking symposium. I think the symposium is after this, right? Right? So we'll be having a thought-provoking symposium on civil litigation in Kenya. It's an honor to be in this auspicious occasion. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of an extraordinary individual, Gladys Mwangi, who is also a friend and a fellow networker, whose passion for justice and legal expertise has culminated in the publication of this book. Her book, Civil Litigation in Kenya. This comprehensive work promises to become an indispensable resource for legal professionals, students, like the one who's just been here, and anyone interested in understanding and navigating the complex terrain of civil litigation in our beloved nation, kama mimi. Sindio? Na tuko wengi. I must say, civil litigation, as we all know, is an integral part of our legal system. It plays a crucial role in ensuring access to justice, resolving disputes, and safeguarding individual rights. I'd like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Gladys Mwangi on the publication of her book. So picking my coffee. So from where I stand, first of all, my name is Karaoke Kenywa. I'm the CEO, founder of Laikiana Hospitality Solutions. However, my first love is architecture. I'm an architect by profession, and I remember my time in university, the only thing we taught was contract management. Little did we know we had to interact with legal issues far beyond contract. And I'm glad that we have some good people out here, like Gladys, who are able to take us pole, tell us how to go about these things, because a lot of times these things are they're monumental. Kwanza, the language. The language too is very, very difficult. So I'm an architect by profession, so you can imagine we're always in matters of land, construction, disputes, etc., etc. My second love is hospitality. I have gotten involved in hospitality in many ways. We have created a school. We want to teach young people how to be good hospitality people. So we have a school called Ziara School of Hospitality. We teach you there. Then you come down for practicals. We have 2 hotels. One in Dagoretti called Laikiana Hospitality Solutions. The other one in Naivasha called Fishy Berlin. And lastly, we work on your placement through Laikiana Jobs. So what we say, we walk the journey with you through the 360 journey. So, hiyo yote simeona hapo ni litigation. Potential. We hardly have any litigation. That, once again, asanteni sana and congratulations, Ms. Gladys Mwangi. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, asante sana, and you know the holidays are almost they're around the corner. So there's camping at Fishigo. So I think the gentleman over there will give us a very good rate. And again, if you are at the Dagoretti corner, at Laikiana, they have very nice food. That is, if you are around that area, just pop in and you will enjoy a sumptuous meal from Laikiana Hotel. Now, we go all the way to Lavington. And this is where now we meet, I'm not wrong if I would say this is the #1 hardware in Nairobi. Right? So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Miss Charity Kioko Lavington Hardware. So just in case she'll expound further, but Dr. Kumalizia. Asante, welcome.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Hamjamboni. All protocols observed. So, my name is Charity Kioko, as you've heard, and I'm the CEO of Lavington Hardware. I stand before you today with immense pride and gratitude as the representative of Lavington Hardware. It is an absolute honor to address this distinguished gathering of legal professionals on this momentous occasion, the book launch of our esteemed lawyer and dear friend, Wakili Gladys. Gladys, congratulations. Tupigie makofi. Well, as a business, one of our core values is supporting the community we live in, as well as our stakeholders. And so, for the sponsorship of this event, or rather, the sponsorship of this event perfectly aligns with our value of running our business in a professional manner with integrity, supported by our stakeholders. One of them, obviously, is Gladys Mwangi. Now, on a more personal level, I have a very soft spot for the legal fraternity in Kenya. And the reason is, as a little, or rather, as a young girl, my father used to tag me along as he went to see his lawyer, who is senior counsel, Kamau Kuria. Yes, those days, I won't mention which era it was, but suffice it to say, ni kitambo. And it was a child house, and I'm still surprised it's still there. Unfortunately, later on in life, My father was confined to a wheelchair. And as you know, the way life is, at your lowest moment, that's when the vultures come, isn't it? They say sometimes at your highest moment, the vultures come, and even at your lowest moment, the vultures come. We had a property in Karen. Now, you know these issues of can we stay partnerships? Unfortunately, my father had gotten into one of those. Now, and some lawyers are also involved. It was heartbreaking to see a strong man like my father, strong, proud, mtu wa biashara, breaking down and crying because he was about to lose his property. Now, after a few misses here and there, he went back to his trusted friend, senior counsel Gibson Kabaukuria, and let me just tell you, we don't look so sad. We have a happy ending. He saved our hotel for us and our property for us. And many years today, thank you. Many years today, we thankfully, me and my siblings have an inheritance. Thank you, Wakili, again. Thank you so much. So for me, it's personal when I say I have a soft spot for the legal fraternity. And ladies and gentlemen in this room, let me tell you something. What I learned in that experience, as long as you're in this life, navigating life and be a sharer, and as you say for your retirement, please set aside an account for legal or for a good lawyer. Good lawyers cost money, I can assure you. So as you say, put some money aside for a good. Yes, you will need one. Whether you're doing badly in life or you're doing very well in life, the vultures will always come, and that's an undisputed part of life. Now, let me tell you about my business since I've been given this opportunity. As you've heard, I'm the owner of Lamington Hardware. We are at the Lamington Mall. We are slightly more than 15 years. And as the community in Kileleshwa and Kilimani has grown, we serve their needs. Our slogan is home care. We give you home care and hardware solution. Why home care? For the community that lives around us, we supply them, or they walk into our retail store and they can purchase your usual paints, electricals, plumbing works. You know, it's a community that really values how their homes look. So not only do we serve the residents in that area, but even the schools around that area. We supply schools like Stratford that are around us, Nairobi International School, the Braybans, Rusinga, to name just but a few. Now, within the same hardware, we have a sister company that does import and distribute farm tools and quality garden equipment. That's a distribution company. Now, in the farm equipment, what we are known for, or what our product is what we call chaff cutters. So if you're a mukulima here and you're keeping animals, if you're keeping dairy cows, if you're keeping pigs or chicken or whatever, we have chaff cutters from Brazil, very high quality. So that helps you when you're doing silage for your cattle. If you have more, we have the bigger machines, we have the tractors. We also supply quality garden tools. And again, our clients are people like USIU, Kenton College. So they buy our rakes, something called secateurs. Secateurs are the, let me call them, yes? Makasi, yes. So makasi ya kukata, if you're growing things like avocado for export, or you're growing, what? You seem to know very well. Thank you. Thank you for this idea. If you're doing flower farming, so we have this very specialized secateurs for that. And for that, we directly deal with farmers. Kumalizia, I can see that I am in a community of wealthy people. So I'll ask you, our company, Fieka Ventures, we're doing very well. The demand is great. We supply not only Nairobi, but also Uganda, Rwanda. And we're looking for funding. So, wealthy community here. If you have a loose 30 million in Melala, or 50, please, see me after this. Okay? Okay? Thank you very much. And Gladys, congratulations.
Appreciate her. Nice. A loose Please underline the word I'm holding. I lose 50 million. Wow. But anyway, as she said it, I mean, we are among the wealthy. It's always declared that, right? It's a deal. So I think to make that possible, to actualize our dream, we have a lady here from Dream Credit Limited. Perhaps she might offer the much needed assistance. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Lilian Gashoki, the Dream Credit Limited. As she works there, we have the Quick Fix Business Loan, Quick Fix Asset Finance Loan, Quick Fix Import and Export, Quick Fix School Fees Loan, beat bonds. Is it confirmed? Are you confirming to what she said? Thank you. Karibu sana, Madam Lilian Gashoki. Asante sana.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. What an honor and a privilege. Grandees, you have real friends. Just stand behind and you see how this hall is looking. It shows you're doing a good job, an amazing job. And what I can say is that you are impacting on generations. As the school young gentleman, the president of the student council was speaking, I was just thinking, imagine the many generations that will be influenced and be impacted by your good work. And again, the challenge is most of us to also start telling stories of what we do. Because when we are gone, what can be learned about what we stood for? So it's a challenge to all of us. We need to start documenting our stories. I'm Lilian Gashoki, as I've been introduced. I run a company called Dream Credit Limited. I just want to share a short story. Sometimes when people hear borrowing money, they feel, let me save, you know? I don't know what people have gone through, let me just say, I live within my means. However, I happen to have met a client about 3 years ago, Jane, not her real name, and she was heavily involved. I'm trying to be safe, confidentiality. I'm in the midst of great legal team. So not her real name. So we're having a conversation, and she mentioned that I have so many orders, but I don't have money, so I'm shying away from doing business. And I was a bit curious, and I asked, why is that so? Have you ever thought of partnering with a financial institution to help you meet these orders? And she said, I fear debts. Yeah? And we had a couple of sitting, and we looked at the business that she has been losing. And we realized she's been losing a lot of profits as compared to that small financing. So we're able to eventually convince her, and we set for her a limit for her business. And down the line, this is a lady who has employed over 26 employees. That job creation. She has expanded with 2 more branches. Again, when we look at the taxes she's paying, she is impacting positively to the economy. And as we walk this journey, last year, she has happened to have a sister who was not feeling well. And there are some of those calls you see at 5 a.m., you're picking, wondering what has happened. So I picked the call, and she said, my sister is not well. We are into this private facility, and they require a deposit of about 600,000 shillings. What that meant is first to reassure her, we'll be there by 8:30 after banks have opened. And that's exactly what we did. She was able to steal the limit to sort out a personal need. And I can confirm the sister is unwell. She's now helping her a lot as they expand their business. And at times, I'm told, business is not for me. I am working, I'm pushing very hard to ensure I retire happy. One of my friends in the network where we belong with Gladys keeps on mentioning, please don't make your children a retirement plan. And I happened to have had a conversation with Chris about 4 years back, and Chris worked in a finance department, very busy, and to him he felt the moment you reach fourth floor, that's where most of us are, and you start wondering, how about retirement? What kind of retirement would that be? I know the youngsters are looking at me, 40 plus, you're very old. My daughter keeps on saying that. Mommy, over 40, you're extremely old. So please, please mention, I want to start thinking about my retirement. How would my retirement be? To Chris, he felt, if I started a business now, within the next 6 years as I retire, it would have grown to employ me in it. But the question is, looking at Chris' work, it was impossible to learn a business. And I asked him 3 questions. Why do you want to start a business? So that I can have something to do when I retire. The same question, why do you want to start a business? He repeated, because I want to have something as I retire. At that time, why do you want to start a business? And he mentioned to have some additional cash flow. And that's where the real reason is. That businesses run to be able to, one, to create impact and also generate the cash flows. And I asked Chris, how much are you looking at making in a year? He mentioned to me, I don't mind between 7 to 10, I am good. I just want to have something to do. And I asked Chris, looking at the nature of your work, it's better to look at an investment plan. You can't borrow money and be in a position to create some passive income even as you work, so that when you retire, you still have that passive income. We've worked 4 years journey with Chris. He's built a sizable passive income. And as a company, we pride ourselves in terms of financial advisory. I know there are so many Kenyans who are working not in the jobs that they love. They're just looking at, can I make something for my retirement? So it's so critical. With part of our financing, we are able to finance people for investments. And the question is, are you there with a big dream? You started a business, you want to start one, or you want to even expand that business and financing is an issue. As I look at the finance bill and from our media, there's level of discouragement, it means we have to double our efforts. We have to look for opportunities. And opportunities will come when you partner also very well with financial institutions that are able to make you progress to the next level. So in case of an asset, you want to pay duty at the port, you want to expand your business, then Dream Credit is the place to be. And at Dream Credit, indeed, we finance dreams for a better life. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate her once again. Yes, I mean, she's a man. Wow. They do love you, right? Oh, they're a student. Okay, then, student, give her a nice appreciation. Wow.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Alwoch, retired judge, chief guest, the Honorable Justice George Odunga, Judge Court of Appeal, Mr. Eric Theuri, the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Dr. Gibson Kamau Kuria, Senior Counsel, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm honored to be here. Gladys, thank you so much when she called me and told me I would like to grace my occasion, I asked her, now what do you want me to say? And she told me, just think of something to say. So I'm honored to be here. I'm very happy to see all of you, some faces very familiar. Some I'm seeing for the first time in a long time, and senior members of the profession. Very honored to be here. I'd like to make my remarks using a bit of my life journey, especially in the academia. Coming back to Kenyatta University gives me a lot of nostalgia. This is where I started my teaching, actually, in 2008. I had just completed my master's program at the University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. And I came back, and before I left, I had been working at the Attorney General's office as a director, as a state counsel too. So when I came back, I told myself I can't go back and be a state counsel. So I started looking for a job. And I was told that Kenyatta University had started a school of law. So I made a trip. I used to live with my parents in Westlands, and I walked all the way here, and I found the dean then, Dr. Linda Musumba, and I told her I was looking for a job, and she told me, go and apply. I applied, and within a week, I had been interviewed and taken in. And so I joined in August, I think August of 2008. And I think I've seen Murunga here. He was among the first people I met when I was teaching criminal law and criminal procedure. And then the following year, I had to leave and join Moi University, which is my alma mater. So when I came today, I looked for my office and it's written health unit, and I was wondering what happened. That's where my office used to be, in the old building. So after I left for Moi University, for those in the academia, they'll tell you when you join the academia, you really don't have options in the courses you teach. They just throw at you what somebody doesn't want to teach anymore. So you're given what somebody is offloading. Huh? So the first year I think I don't remember, I taught critical thinking, which is very hard to teach. Then the following year, he's now a judge, Justice Nixon Sifuna, was offloading civil litigation, civil procedure. And who was the newest in the block? Yes, and that's how I found myself teaching civil procedure for a couple of years until I left Moi University. That was a unit I taught. It came with its challenges. Teaching civil procedure is not easy. I think Gladys will tell you. The first challenge is, at that time there were no books. What you have is just the rules and the act. So you have to create some sort of digestible knowledge to pass on to young minds who are fresh from high school and still trying to find their footing in what law is. So that was the first challenge I met. There were no books. If there were any, it was few. Those that are there are foreign. They're UK or from India. I think they were our favorites, so those ones from India. They were simpler to understand. Then secondly, you're teaching it in second year. It was taught as part of foundational units. Foundational, where you're creating a foundation in law. And it's abstract. Try explain to someone what a plaint is. It's in the mind, they cannot conjure what it is or understand what is this you're talking, what is this you're calling a plaint. And that was my problem now, creating that picture in the mind of a student to understand how civil litigation is. What is this procedure that you're talking about? And I remember it's only after they went for attachment or internship is when they would come back and say, Mwalimu, now I understand what you were talking about. Because then it was very hard to paint that picture. And then in 2010, Justice Odunga is here. He was working on new rules, the civil procedure rules of 2010. And in December, shock on me, after I've done term one of semester one, the rules are gazetted. I think, Byron, I don't know whether you were in that class of 20, the class where the rules changed midway. 2011, no, okay, then it must be the class behind you. And so I've done semester one, you've done, the orders changed, the arrangement of orders, some things were cut off, dropped. So So you've taught, now you have to engage reverse gear and then start afresh. So that was some of the other challenges that I encountered. And just tied to the first point, defining some terms in civil procedure was tough. You try to explain to a student what a memorandum of appearance is. What do you mean by entering appearance? Does it mean walking in? There are those things that just come with the teaching. And I used to tell them, entering appearance is just saying, I am here. You're not crying because you're just saying, I am here. What is close of reading? There were so many things that arose. Then, of course, subsequently I left and went to Kenya School of Law. And the challenge at the end where we are right now is lack of text again. We still have a problem with textbooks. Those in academia will know the fight we have with Council of Degree Education every year. 5 texts for every student recommended and all that. And they want local books that are recent. You put a book that is 2008, they say, no, this is not recent. So we have a challenge basically in textbooks used for teaching. So I've gone through the book Gladys, skimmed through. What I like about it is comprehensive, very comprehensive. For someone who is going to do civil procedure with this book, there'll be a much advantage compared to someone who has never seen this book, okay? Then I said again, it will help at least a lot of law schools comply with CLE requirements of having a book on civil litigation or civil procedure in the library, which they can envelop and say we are compliant, because we also just buy to comply. And thirdly, I believe it's going to make it a breeze for those of us who are still in school and are coming to join us at the Kenya School of Law. For a long time, I think University of Nairobi was not teaching civil procedure. And when they came to the school, they had a lot of work to do a lot of catch up. But I think now they've changed the syllabus. So with this book, it will be easier. It will be a breeze when they join the school with the information that is here and more that will be added. Because at the school, we focus more on drafting, a lot of drafting. So this provides a good foundation. Gladys, we can work on volume 2 with a lot of precedents on drafting and all that. So I'm very proud of you. I'm excited. I want to congratulate you. I think you have actually done a good job. And we look forward to, as I said, a volume 2. And also to confirm that the students from Kenyatta University do not give us trouble at the school. For 2 years, I think they produced president. I think it was 2020 and 2021. The presidents were from Kenyatta University. And I think in 2019 or 2020, the best student overall in ATP was from Kenyatta University. So you have a very good name. We are proud of you. So thank you very much. And hand over.
Thank you very much. That's a very good from Uncle Rushe. And yes, he has just confirmed that the civil litigation in Kenya preferably is the best manual that we have for civil litigation. And it's a case study. That was reading something on her thesis, on her master's, which we'll know much later. And I think you're brilliantly talented. Let's appreciate her. Thank you. We'd like to introduce to you the Dean of Riara Law School, Dr. Victor Lando. Please welcome the Dean of Riara Law School, Dr. Victor Lando. Let's appreciate him as a captain. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Justice Joyce Lodge, Honorable Justice Odunga, Senior Counsel Dr. Kamau Kuria, the President of the Law Society of Kenya, the management of Kenyatta University, Senior Counsel, advocates, ladies and gentlemen, students, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Lando. I'm the Dean Riara Law School. And we're just down the road on Bagati or Raila Odinga Road. Sisi ndio wale kwa Kipra, lakini usijali, we are good. It is my pleasure to stand before you today to celebrate my classmate, Gladys. She's evidence of consistency, integrity, hard work, ever since the year 2000 or something, when we were in first year. She has been consistent, and the book that is being launched today is evidence of consistency, hard work, integrity, and being good at what you do, and going the extra mile to achieve that. And so we are very proud of you. Congratulations. My journey in academia, I have to go like Konuche. I was at KU at some point. When I left South Africa in 2007, I did my LLM at Pretoria. Then I came back, and I met my other classmate, Kipchumba Mulcom at CS. He was teaching at KU at that time. Then he tells me, let's go. So he tells me there's a class at KU I can go teach. That time KU was on, it wasn't the law school, Thika Road. The expressway wasn't there, the nice road wasn't there. So I remember waking up at 4 a.m. I was in Jamhuri. I took City Hope at 4 or 5. I went to teach. Nikaingia class nikapata mtu anafunza. I was in the wrong class. But eventually, that was the start of my journey in academia. And so KU I have very fond memories. Even though I walked 10 kilometers, I think it was 10 kilometers inwards. But I have very fond memories of KU. And so coming back here and being part of this event is an honor and a privilege. What I tell my students at RU is this: when you're a student, do not be a professional student. It is way past the time of being a professional student, i.e., you go to the library, go to class, and chill. No. God has invested talents in you that you can use to build yourself in addition to being a student. So the days of usome too, then you go get employed, are over. It is the days of usome, you get knowledge, you create employment, you create opportunities. All right? So do not just think of practicing, and I know before the courts of Kenya, no, we have Lady Justice Joyce Alwach, who was an international judge. So you need to start thinking of, can I apply for internship at the International Court of Justice, or at the ICC, or before any of those international courts and tribunals? You should not see yourself as confined only to the borders of Kenya or to Nairobi. See yourself as someone who can go to New York and be part of the New York Bar. One of our students went and did his master's in Harvard, and then later also applied to join the New York Bar. So he's duly qualified. He's a member of the New York Bar, he's a member of the Kenyan Bar. So opportunities are endless. And civil litigation, back to civil litigation, it is a skill. So the book is there and it is okay, but do not read the book and then keep quiet. No. Read the book on civil litigation and build your skills over time. Build your skills over time. Do not just read and keep the knowledge to yourself. Gladys has been very instrumental in at least sharing the knowledge that she has gained over time and over her experience. But now it's upon all of us to also get and benefit from that knowledge and then spread it to wherever we will go, so that we're able to enhance the standards of practice in this country, and to also position Kenya as one of the leading countries in terms of choice of law, right? Because in the 21st century, and sometimes when you're doing international contracts and investment contracts, choice of law is important. Why can people say that we want disputes to be resolved before the High Courts of Kenya? It can happen, but we have to have high quality lawyers, and this is one of the steps towards the achievement of that. And so we congratulate you, we congratulate KU, and we just say thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. That should be all. I do not have a lot to say, but just to say thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. And all of you, you are welcome to Riara Law School. it is good to have collaborations between law schools. And when I came in, the person who was signing me in was from KU, but they knew me, and I'm like, okay, this is good. At least there is partnerships between different law schools in Kenya. So we want to proceed with that and to strengthen engagements between different law schools in our country. Yes, thank you, Mr. MC.
Thank you very much, Lee. Sir, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think it's good to learn about, you take advantage of the opportunity and also enhance your skills, right? The next gentleman that I would like to introduce to you, I do remember in the 90s, in the 90s, there was the first liberation, that was in 1963, and then in the 90s there was a second liberation. And there's this gentleman that I used to see on TV every time, and every time he comes on TV, my father would say, this man is a great man. And I'm like, who is this man? And as we grew older, that's when I realized, indeed, lawyers are very important. Because you see the good job that he's doing on television, fighting for our rights as Kenyans. He's risking it all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to acknowledge this man. He has served in different capacities in the East Africa Law Society and the Law Society of Kenya. He has also won many awards, such as the Rule of Law Award by the American Bar Association for his work in human rights in Kenya, the Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Award from the Robert F. Kennedy Center for Justice and Human Rights, and the Jurist of the Year Award by the International Commission of Jurists Kenya Chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you, it's an honor for me to introduce to you the great man I always used to see on TV in the 90s. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Gibson Kamau Korea, Senior Counsel. Welcome, sir.
I wish to thank the organizers of this function for inviting me to participate in our celebrating Gladys for the work she has done. Lawyers are called learning friends, and they get learning, as Edward Cook said, by reading. And Gladys and Justice Odunga are feeling a vacuum. That is, vacuum taking the form of lack of local legal literature. Practitioners know that practitioners who are serious with their work have in their chambers a 10-volume digest by Justice Odunga. And I urge not to tire his kindness, and the 10th volume is a beginning of Odunga's Laws of Kenya, the equivalent of Housebury's Laws of England. And Gladys is also following in legal scholarship by ensuring that we understand our jurisprudence. So, well done, Gladys, and you have set a good example for other people. Now, I have some quick remarks I'll make, but I'll tell you or affirm that there's nothing better than living ideals of law. They have taken me to Naivasha maximum security prison. They have taken me to Kamiti maximum security prison. They have taken me to exile. Simply because I've been true to law. I can tell you if I were younger than I am, there's nothing I'll do different from the one I did to go to this aversion. I was just telling people that I can't believe it. At Naivasha Maximum Security Prison, I was able to get books I couldn't get in our libraries about how KGB operates, CIA, Mossad, M16. I didn't believe it. And also books on how wars are conducted. Like for instance, example, if you are a big commander, you have a number of men and women, and you're on operation, you have to decide at some point go for the operation, you only come back. So you have to volunteer, or ask people to volunteer to go, and possibly not come back. But that was this experience. Now, I have not had a chance of reading Gladys' book, but I know she has covered many aspects. I'll just share with you my experiences. It's good that she has used the express civil litigation, because civil procedure is too narrow, because the conception of civil litigation is that if you are in a Supreme Court, you use a petition. If you want a divorce, if you are doing a matrimonial matter, you get a divorce petition. If you are doing succession, you are doing a petition. These are not to be found in the Civil Procedure Act. And because in civil litigation, we use very different types of procedures. And my experience is that to be successful, not only do you understand that civil procedure rules, but you have to understand substantive law, because the plaint or the petition is anchored on substantive law. So that before you draw up your petition or your plaint or even in summons, you must have done very thorough research. For instance, in employment law, you can't be thorough unless you have the modern conception of the contract of employment as a form of property, which is deserving as much protection as the ordinary forms of property. And then you know that in the contract of employment, you have to have new doctrines like constructive termination or constructive dismissal, and that you may be able to get, as the Supreme Court has said, the insurance as package insurance brokers limited, that you can also get damages for the contravention of fundamental rights. And I had occasion to use it to success, where my client was subjected to the greatest nastiness that one can imagine, including being cleared by her employer. Her boss had stolen 11.5 million shillings, but she and other people. Now, for that nastiness, I asked damages for the contravention of the right to labor, fair labor relations, and it was compensated. So, it is therefore very important that one gets the substantive wrong in so that this civil litigation. And part of civil litigation is to know that there's a very famous court of appeal decision, National Convention Trial by Gladys, says that the court has no jurisdiction to grant you a relief you have not sought. So, if you are drawing up any kind of pleading, you must be sure that you get all Then the other thing is that in my practice, I found that preemptive remedies, like the injunction, the appointment of an interim liquidator, the appointment of a receiver manager, are very crucial, because unless you get these preemptive remedies, then there will be no subject matter to deal with. And you'll find, as I found, that our legal system is young. The good law reports, you only find from 1876 to now. So, quite often, you have to go to other jurisdictions. I was surprised, for instance, that before 52B came, I did that case of Muddy Paper International with Basika, and I couldn't understand why anyone else had done it before. I have done other cases, like Logis Limited versus Shireta, where a minority shareholder had been victimized, and we had to remove the management from office pending a hearing and determination of the petition. So it is therefore very important to know about preemptive remedies, and they are part of what is called the civil litigation. The other important thing is that I found is that it's very important to have regard to the Limitations of Actions Act, and also know that in the case of civil litigation, whether in the court factory, in the High Court or Supreme Court, sometimes your client, you normally are the consultant after other lawyers have messed their case in the land on your desk, and you have to apply for an extension of time to appeal or do other things. So it is also important to know that if in litigation you can't get to get the worst of human nature, like someone decides to make himself or herself a nuisance, and they get an eviction order because, but you don't want to be bothered. You just say, you apply under Section 95 of the Procedure Act for the court to allow you to execute your decree before the courts have been assessed. That way, you are able to deal with this person who is making a nuisance. This is again part of the civil litigation. Now, the other important thing I found is that the starting point is that you and me are as good as anyone else in the world. We have the capacity to be the best lawyer in the world, and therefore to make our nation great. We become like the makers of the American Constitution. 55 men who met at Philadelphia. And they went through systems of government that had existed in the world. Would you believe? That's what we lawyers do. When we have a matter, we go to textbooks, we go to local case law, and the entire world, we go to comparative jurisprudence. So that if you are a lawyer practicing in Nairobi or Mombasa or Kisumu, you are as good as any lawyer in Melbourne, London, or Ottawa. The research field is very great, and this is the way I think that we can help our nation by being scholars like Justice Odunga and the Gladys. We need to know all that is knowable, not only in Kenya, but in the entire world. So I'm happy to be in your law school. I used to be a teacher, and when I came from detention, my wife told me that she had received a letter when I was detained that I had lost my job because of being, I did not present myself for lecturers. Because I thought that was quite a bad joke. Thank you very much. I thank Charity for saying the kind words she said. I used the procedure where a person had not served in her summons were paid with strong marks, and the summons have expired. So, Charity is a witness of the fact that our job as lawyers is to turn tears into joy. That is when the time we start taking instructions, drain our pleadings. My experience is that you hold men and women's hands when they are in tears and tell them that it can't be done. You are going to get your life back. That person mistreated you, but in Kenya, there's justice. And one of the jobs that you have done is to say, our justice system may be slow, but it works. So that we don't despair. And I have found the clients being happy because I told them that in truth, our justice system works. So let me stop there and say that the legal profession has a good future before it. When I was, the Master of Ceremonies referred to some role I played, and I read an article said that the Kenyan bar is the only one which had helped the country to rewrite its constitution. So, there are more achievements to be made. Thank you very much.
Let's appreciate Gibson from our Korea. Yes, today, you know, there is a networking platform that we always engage in every Tuesday. And one of the core values is a lifelong achievement of teaching. And today I think I've learned something new in regards to comparative jurisprudence. I had consulted my brother there whether that's the correct pronunciation. But again, I can probably say I've learned comparative jurisprudence. Thank you very much, Senior Counsel. Moving forward, it's a high time I introduce, he's been in the legal practice for over 18 years. And currently he's the president of the Law Society of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate and welcome to the stage Mr. Eric Deuri.
Allow me to be a bit lazy and just adopt all the protocols that have been laid out before. Gladys, thank you for inviting me to this event. But before I make a few remarks, MC, you will allow me to invite the Vice President of the Law Society of Kenya. She is also a teacher of law, to just maybe make one or two remarks before I can make my address.
So Gladys, congratulations. The President has already adopted the protocols. Today I was hoping to just be lazy and sit and enjoy as I listen to others. The President has thought otherwise. So I'll put on my academic hat. Any work that any academic does, without a doubt you can say it's a labor of love. A labor of love of the number of hours you have applied in teaching, in sharing knowledge, in sharing experiences with your students, and also in legal practice. Because you only reach out by the knowledge that you share, not only from books, but from experience of the work that you've done. And so I know this today represents the love that you have for your students and the years of work that you have toiled. And for the students, I think she's made work easier for you. So get a copy of this book. I know as teachers sometimes we do this thing of ensuring that all your articles and your books are part of the first items in the curriculum that you must obtain. Sometimes it's tricky, but sometimes it makes life easier and work easier for you as a student. So today I just say congratulations, and I hope that they will take this knowledge that you have presented to them and use it wisely. As our senior counsel has said, let your knowledge as a lawyer be used to change tears into joy, give hope unto others. Today we were launching the Law Students Association, and members of KU also represented. And the message for the young and the new budding advocates that will soon be is that the sky is the one that is limiting you. Take your knowledge, go and serve others, work with others, hold each other's hand. Your teacher has given you an instrument to hold your hand. Now the rest is up to you. Thank you.
Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. The Vice President actually does a lot of work for me, but I do get the credit. So when I got up here and then I realized I didn't have anything to say, I thought that I would also work for me. So if you are waiting for some remarks from me, they have already been done. So I was sitting here, and when I came in, I was introduced to some sponsors. And then when Charity spoke, I actually realized why she was a sponsor. Because, she said you need to put some money aside for a lawyer. To the lawyers in the room, can I hear an amen? Amen. And then I looked at the people who have been asked to appear at this book launch. I know, Justice Odunga, you probably have been very lonely up there, with your digest and very few texts on local knowledge. So Gladys, I just want to congratulate you for joining this very elite list of publications that are building our jurisprudence and enriching our local content, and we are really proud of that, and we want to encourage a lot of, especially the teachers, to put in the work that they do to write books. I think, I can't remember who said it, but sometimes the people, there's a famous actor who says if there's something that you want to read and it is not there, you write it. So I hope that by this you can then encourage others to actually write. And then I saw Gibson Kamau Kuria. Now, for those who have gone to court with Gibson Kamau Kuria, and I'm sure the judges here will confirm, when he files his submissions, if you're on the opposing side, you need to buy a new cabinet to store his submissions. Because he will serve you with, all those big books. When you were in school and we were young, we used to have an academic angle. You carry all these big law books so that the young girls who are taking sociology and can be impressed that you are soon to be a budding lawyer, and so that improves your chances of negotiation. And I said, there can't be a better person to talk about the value of knowledge, because I know how diligent and how well he prepared for his cases. The value of reading, it's something which I want to say that unfortunately we appear to be losing. We have precedents, so you're in a lawyer's group every time someone is asking, give me a precedent on what, give me a precedent on what. Those of us who are trained in the old way, with all hands, such as Gibson Kamau Kuria and the rest, will always tell you, take your book, take your civil procedure, take your Douglas Digest and so many others, and read, and then draft your pleadings accordingly. And I really hope that this book will enable the younger ones and those who are in practice to just embrace reading, to prepare their pleadings, to be able to be good litigators. Because, we've had here today the testimony of what a good lawyer can do to the lives of so many people. And for me, what I've found in my practice is that there is no greater reward you can ever get. It doesn't matter, even the amount of money. It doesn't, all of us want to be peanuts. Of course, we go for it. But that satisfaction of somebody coming back to tell you, thank you, justice was served, that is priceless. And so I'm quite excited to go through your book and get a few copies, and some I will donate to my former school or university so that they can also benefit from this wonderful knowledge that you have. So thank you so much for inviting me, and all the best at your lunch.
Thank you, President. Asante sana. Kenyatta University is known for its vibrant art and theater. I guess, I'm very sure they are the ones who gave us Ridiculous, if you remember. So, even in spoken word, they're very strong at that. And I'd like to introduce one of the alumni. And this is very strange or rather special because I have never in my life seen an advocate or a lawyer reciting a poem. This will be the first time. I hear you talking about precedents, right? So I think this is a unique precedent. Am I correct? Yes. So let me invite Mr. Patrick Lavis, ladies and gentlemen.
I think a good lawyer is a good reader, and I'd like to take you back. There was perhaps one of the all-time greatest authors and writers. His name, Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy, but in English it's called Leo Tolstoy. So perhaps that's one of the few authors and writers who received the Nobel Prize in Literature from 1902 to 1906. But in 1901, 1902, and 1906, he received the Nobel Peace Prize. So why am I quoting him? He said, but nothing is more necessary for a man than a company of intelligent women. So today I'm here because of Gladys. And I think no man would want a woman who isn't intelligent. Or men, would you? Would you? Yeah, I mean, I like women who challenge me, not just to think, but to even maneuver around life. So I will add what Martin Luther King said. Martin Luther King died 55 years ago on 4th of April. And he said that if a man is called to be a street sweeper, let him sweep. As if the Beethoven composed music, as if Shakespeare composed poetry, and as if Michelangelo painted. So let this man sweep until the owners of heavens and earth pause and say that indeed there lived a street sweeper who did his work well. So for me today, I was called to be a poet, and this is the poetry I'd like to do. But before I do this, I don't know most, if not all of you, you may not know, but 16 or so years ago, I schooled with the daughter of the Justice of Appeal here, J.V. Odunga, and I know maybe he doesn't remember, but she was a brilliant lady, and for purposes of data protection, I wouldn't mention her name. I want to. Yeah, so we need to comply with that. Okay, so this space is called Unlearning. And the books you're seeing on the screen, well, those are pieces of my soul. I mean, my fourth book just came out 2 or so weeks ago. So, trying to craft a page to line with the theme of the day, well, for a poet is a craft. I mean, it's a masterpiece you need to learn for those years. I didn't know I had talent, so I think it just happened by chance because I was inspired by my Anjali, who died on 28th of May 2014. She was one of the perhaps greatest inspirations and muse you'll ever have as a writer and as a poet. So I published 2 of my books in this school. One is a second year, one is a 4th year. And this room was my class, Stream 5. So it feels nostalgic to come back. I mean, to speak to the walls because the walls have ears, so they will listen. So the piece is called Unlearning, and I hope you follow through. So it goes. So like the magical canopy of the eucalyptus, whose trunk grew despite being deprived of sunlight in its seeded ground, due for autumn. And like a baby of his fast crawls and wings, small strides, slow and steady walks, and confident journeys on his soul feet, the universe found its voice. From here, men and women's voices were as loud as their echoes. And like a caterpillar in the advent and end of its cycle, you grew to beautiful butterflies, roaming on beauty and grace. Fears of uncertainty but hope concealed in the red petal flowers you settled on. And so at sea you sailed, in the high seas you docked, and you found peace in storms, and your visions could not be blurred by the trumpets and echoes of silence. For a country that was birthed in the ruins of yesterday, today is the rebirth of what tomorrow holds.
and for a nation that grieved but now smiles. Today is the beginning of continuity and change. Life in the cusp of healing. For a nation that again grieved but now mourns. For you showing up, for still showing up, for embedding the country in the global space of democratic and legal greatness. And apart to the back is the crown in valuable souls woodwork. So hats off. So you will rise, you are rising, indeed you rose, and you deserve all the flowers.
He just dropped the mic, right? Well done, brother. Asante sana. Let's appreciate him one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce this great man, this great mind. Previously, he was a judge of the High Court of Kenya, where he was appointed on the 23rd of August, 2011. He also served as a presiding judge, Judicial Review Division, Milimani High Court, Nairobi, Kenya. And in the same court, he also served in the Commission and Civil Divisions. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is a winner of the 2015 Law Society of Kenya Distinguished Award in the Administration of Justice and 2018 Jurist of the Year Award. Put your hands together. Let's appreciate Honorable Justice George Odunga.
I'm not a poet. So I content myself with making my speech. With the leave of the chief guest, Lady Justice Grace Alush, may I adopt the protocol that has been set up before for me. Because I don't want to make a mistake. Say that if you don't know anything, you better keep quiet. When you keep quiet, people think that you know a lot. Rather than opening your mouth and then you make a number of mistakes. So it is a great honor for me to be invited to this particular occasion for the launch of the civil litigation in Kenya. When this invitation was extended to me by Ms. Gladys Mwangi, I humbly accepted it for two reasons. The first is, of course, my sentimental attachment to the issues that relate to civil law practice, being the current chair of the Judiciary Rules Committee. And the second, of course, is due to the fact that I have attempted in the past to put together a digest of cases on civil law in practice in this country. Of the Rules Committee, we are constantly reviewing the practice of civil law in this country with a view to making that practice efficient and cost-effective. Naturally, another publication in that area must always attract our attention. Civil law practice is an evolving process, and we must continue to improve on how to make it efficient and user-friendly. The procedure that we have currently is a complex one, even to the battle-hardened litigators like Senior Counsel Dr. Kamau Kuria. It is therefore debatable whether the current architecture of the civil procedure meets the provision of Article 48 of the Constitution with respect to access to justice, as well as Article 159(2) of the same Constitution. Therefore, the book that we are launching today, having been authored by a legal practitioner and a scholar, it is my belief that there could not have been a more qualified person to write such a book. With that kind of exposure and experience, you will agree with me that the author is in an advantageous position to authoritatively pen down a book of that kind. I wish to commend the author for her vision and efforts to document what I consider, from what I've heard, to be a very comprehensive account of litigation of civil law in this country. This is particularly an important development, as the book will surely go a long way in assisting scholars, practitioners, and the public in general in understanding the riddle of civil litigation and hopefully unpack it. It's my hope that this effort will be sustained and emulated by other legal practitioners and scholars, given the importance and dynamic nature of civil litigation. As the practice of law in general and civil law in particular continue to evolve, the need for public enlightenment in that area of the law cannot be overemphasized. Against that background, there is a need to re-engineer our processes and practices in civil law arena in order to meet the constitutional standards. Indeed, as a country, we must be prepared to adopt the best practices in our civil litigation processes if our legal practice, which we must appreciate is an enabler of the economy, is to be integrated into the global market. I therefore urge that this excellent performance be sustained. Meanwhile, we must note the weaknesses in the current legal framework. It is in this light that I urge both legal practitioners and scholars to find ways in which we can bridge the gap between adversarial and inquisitorial systems of litigation. Both systems have identifiable benefits which we need to identify, harness, and nurture. In my view, it is possible to harmonize both systems in order to achieve our constitutional objective under Article 159(2) of the Constitution. That justice be done to all, irrespective of status. That justice shall not be delayed. That justice shall be administered without undue regard to procedural technicalities. That alternative forms of dispute resolution mechanisms shall be promoted, and that the purpose and principles of the Constitution shall be protected and promoted. We are aware that apart from civil procedure, we now have alternative forms of dispute resolution mechanisms. We have litigation. We've had arbitration with us for a long time. We have what we call AJS, Alternative Justice System. So all this we need to embrace, not because we like to, but because the Constitution says that we have to promote them. It is in this light that I encourage litigants, practitioners, and scholars, as well as members of the public, to present their views to the Rules Committee. That committee has commenced the process of a review of the civil procedure rules. Our address is, those who are pen, you can write it down. D Rules Committee, Youth Rules Committee at gmail.com. So if there's you have any views that you want us to take into account, please let's have those views so that we can incorporate them in the revised civil procedure rules. Having listened to the contents of the book that we are launching today, without pretending to be reviewing it, it is my sincere belief that this book will enrich our knowledge and enhance our understanding of civil litigation in this country. It will also serve as a good reference document in that area. I therefore recommend it for legal practitioners, legal scholars, and the general public. A book on issues related to civil litigation is welcome, notwithstanding the review of the civil procedure rules. That book will always be relevant. I recommend that you get a copy for yourself and read it. In the unfortunate event that you do not do so, at least say something good about it. It is all to say that a book is a success when people who haven't read it pretend that they have. However, it's also important to be cautious, because it's often said that no time is a little knowledge more dangerous than when we are using it to start a rumor. So please get a copy of this wonderful book, read it, and get something good from it, which you will definitely get. I encourage all of us to not only write academic books, but also write about our varied experiences in the various fields we are involved in. Amongst us here this afternoon are men and women who are repositories of great wealth of wisdom. This wisdom has been acquired from decades of practice and disposition of justice that unless we put down, we may lose it in the graves. The experiences that Lady Justice Alwat has, Senior Counsel Dr. Kamau Kuria has, it's not just about going to court. There's a lot that goes outside the courtroom, a lot that you actually gather in your chambers, which you don't learn from the books. Let me give you an example of a young lawyer who had been given instructions by a senior lawyer. You know, this issue that this commission was talking about offloading bad topics to you, often happens in chambers. The senior advocate will offload a very bad case to you, so that he or she can maintain the record that he never loses cases. So this young lawyer was given a brief in the morning that you go to court and SOG. Well, he didn't know what SOG was, but of course you can't ask your master what is SOG. You are supposed to know it. So he went to court, and when the man was called out, he said that my lord, my instructions are SOG. So the young asked, what do you mean SOD? What are the reasons for SOD? Say that those were my instructions. So you know those kind of practices, you don't learn them from the books. You learn them from a publication like this one, when they tell you what happens in litigation. And you also learn them from experience. So a lot goes on when you are in practice. As regards the issue of area, alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, I would encourage all of us to embrace it. It is important that we embrace it. There are a number of cases that ought not to go to court, but they still find their way in court. An example is a matter that went to court those days when the chiefs were very powerful. And those who come from where I come from, around the Lake region, when you establish a home, there's a particular cock that belongs to the home. It's like a part owner of the home, but that particular home. So what happened was that when this person did not pay the dues, the chief went and he had this guy had animals. He had cows, he had goats. But the chief went for that particular cow and took it away. And you know that was a serious thing. So he went to court, he sued the chief. The state council took over the matter and said, I mean, this is a small matter, why should it even go to court? So the state council called him and told him that, look, I'm ready to pay you the value of this particular court so that you withdraw the matter. He said, no, the matter must be heard. So eventually when the matter was the first time the matter came for hearing, the chief attended the court. And he was asked, what's the problem with you? He said, I wanted the chief to be here so that I can tell him what he did to me. And the only thing I need from me is an apology. And after the chief apologized, he was asked, how much damages do you require? He said, I'm not interested in damage. I'm also interested in the apology from the chief. Those kind of matters actually do not belong to court, so they can be sorted out somewhere else. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude my address by once again commending Ms. Gladys Mwangi for this initiative. Writing a book is no mean task. It's not for the faint-hearted. You need to have strength and patience to sit for long hours, put down your thoughts in proper sequence. Your diction must be good, and you have to make substantial sacrifices, and perhaps have sleepless nights in order to come out with something meaningful. You must also have the capacity to tolerate criticisms that go with writing. To quote J.C. Owens, following his 1936 gold medal wins, we all have dreams. But in order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort. To Gladys Mwangi, I say a big congratulations on a successful completion of the book that we intend to launch today. I wish you many more years of fruitful writing for publication. And I thank you all for your kind attention and having lent me your ears. And now return back those ears to you. Thank you very much.
Honorable Justice, let's appreciate him. Myself, I can't take back my ears. Thank you very much. Asante sana. No justice. When we watch you on TV, I mean, it's good to be honest. No one, I wouldn't have thought that you're a man, a gentleman, who is full of humor. So thank you very much for making this lovely event. You brought in some cheer. Thank you. It's good to appreciate the Kusol Alumni Association. And in our midst, we have Wakili Kennedy Murunga, the chairperson. Please stand up and wave. Thank you very much. And we have Emma Oginga, she's the official. Perhaps you could stand up and wave wherever you are. Emma, thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, representing Professor Wanjohi Washeke, the DVC academic Kenyatta University. Let's appreciate Dr. Odanga. Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate Dr. Odanga.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Benjamin Danga. I'm the Dean for Agriculture, sitting at the Kitui campus, or I'm also the head of the Kitui campus. But in this capacity, I'm representing University Management, the DVC Academic, Professor Washeke Wanjohi, who is on leave. And before I read this speech, I would like to congratulate my colleague, Gladys Mwangi. I think this is a great achievement. I may not have much to say personally because I'm in management. So I'll go directly to the speech of the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic dealing with this symposium and launch and book launch being held today. Our chief guest, the Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Aloch, EBS, CBS, members of management from Kenyatta University present, the Honorable Justice George Odunga, Judge of the Court of Appeal for Kenya, Registrar, Court and Expedition, Ms. Caroline Kendagor, Mr. Eric Deuri, President, Law Society of Kenya, Dr. Gibson Kamau Kuri, Senior Counsel, Dr. Victor Lando, Dean, Rare Law School, that's Rare University, Ms. Anna Konuche, Assistant Director, Advocacy Training Program, Kenya School of Law, the Executive Dean, Deputy Executive Dean, members of Kenyatta University here present, our esteemed students, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am delighted to welcome you to Kenyatta University School of Law, Arts and Social Sciences, and particularly our Parklands campus for the symposium and book launch 2023. This is where our law school is domiciled. On behalf of our Vice Chancellor and the entire university management, I would like to congratulate Ms. Gladys Mwangi and the editors of the book we are launching today entitled Civil Litigation in Kenya. Kenyatta University is home to a growing body of scholars recognized nationally and internationally for the significance of their contributions to in the area, humanities, education, environmental sciences, business, economics, medicine, engineering, and law. I am elated by the ongoing success of our researchers against the existing constraints and filled with optimism that our research and innovation efforts can be enhanced towards becoming a research-intensive university. We are committed to building on a dynamic research culture that enriches the academic experience for our students, creates new knowledge across a broad array of disciplines, and helps to improve the economic, social, and cultural vitality of our country, region, and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenyatta University's mission is to provide quality education and training through knowledge generation, research, innovation, creativity, and community service. Within a vibrant and supportive learning environment, KU discovers, disseminates, applies new knowledge. We impact the quality of teaching and learning, collaborating with researchers in and out of the country, partnering with our local community, industry, government, and sharing evidence-based research with policymakers. We pride ourselves as having a fully dedicated division of research, innovation, and outreach that is responsible for establishing, advancing, and supporting an environment at Kenyatta University that fosters research and creativity activity of the highest caliber. The division also enhances the capacity of all academic staff for great research. Ladies and gentlemen, the book we are about to launch is very significant as it resonates with one of our core units prescribed by the second schedule of the Legal Education Act 2012 and taught at the Bachelor of Laws program as LPL 203, Civil Procedure, here at Parklands campus. Generally, the book highlights various steps of civil litigation in Kenya, while at the same time examining how the rules of procedure are applied to the courts on a day-to-day basis. That is, it examines the various steps that parties undergo in civil litigation, from preliminary steps before filing a civil suit, drafting pleadings, filing, service, pretrial proceedings, hearing appeals, all the way to delivery of judgments and execution. Besides, a whole chapter on alternative dispute resolution, ADR, is incorporated in this book. Fellow researchers, the topics discussed in the book merit our attention as legal practitioners, scholarly community, policy makers, and the industry players. Through this book, Kenyatta University creates a platform for legal practitioners, scholars, policy makers, and students to engage in an open and vibrant discourse on civil litigation in Kenya. More importantly, the book offers an opportunity to pass legal knowledge and expertise to an upcoming generation of Kenyan lawyers. Hongera sana, Ms. Gladys. As I conclude, it's important to note that civil litigation in Kenya is complex. I believe our chief guest, the Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Oloch, the Honorable Justice George Odunga, Ms. Gladys, and the rest of invited experts present will help us to navigate this fundamental area of law. And we note that this has been done except for the chief guest who will be presenting after me. I therefore urge you to actively engage these experts to learn as much as possible, and also take this opportunity to learn and observe the ideals and values of the legal profession. We wish to extend our deepest appreciation to the Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Oloch, the Honorable Justice George Odunga, and other invited guests, and indeed all attendees, for graciously accepting to come and be part of this occasion. We also greatly appreciate Mr. Karaoke Kinywa, Ms. Charity Kioka, Ms. Lillian Gachoki for sponsoring the event. I note that there could have been more. We are all included here and appreciated as well. Asanteni sana. With few those remarks, I now invite the chief guest to deliver her remarks. Thank you. Signed by the BBC Academic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Just before the chief comes for stage, it's good to acknowledge her. She is a woman who has, in one way or the other, shaped the judicial landscape here in the country. I think you all agree with that. And she's retired, and she's the first Vice President International Criminal Court at The Hague, the Netherlands. And prior to that, she was judge in the Court of Appeal. And prior to that, she was a judge in the Court of Appeal and High Court Kenya. She is a certified international mediator, accredited mediator, a certified advanced mediator, and a chartered mediator. She is a member of the Judicial Reform Committee for South Sudan under the yeah? Okay. And well, she's a certified international mediator, accredited mediator, a certified advanced mediator, and a chartered mediator. She's a member of the Judicial Reform Committee for South Sudan under the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. She is a recipient of several international and national awards, including Presidential Awards of Elder of the Burning Spear, EBS, First Class Order of the Burning Spear, CBS, and Trailblazer Award, CBS. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be outstanding and welcome our chief guest today, Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Anwot. Karibu sana. I hope iko sawa. Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening. We came when it was good afternoon, but now it's good evening. May I adopt the protocol that has been, please sit down. Thank you very much. I beg your pardon, sit down. May I adopt the protocol that has already been established, except that Gladys, congratulations. Very well done. I'm neither an academician, because I haven't been in class teaching. I don't know how the University of Western Cape in South Africa appointed me an adjunct professor. I don't know how they did that, but I do go and give lectures. I have not practiced as an advocate either. No, I didn't. So where did I come from? At the time, by the way, I was the second woman magistrate and judge in this country. Before me, there was only my sister, Judge Effie Ward. We became friends and we are basically sisters. And thank God we are both still alive and practically talk every day. So at the time that I joined the Kenyan judiciary, that was after the University of Nairobi and Kenya School of Law, I think there was a deliberate plan to Kenyanize the judiciary, the Kenyan judiciary. Because there we were, most of the magistrates and judges were from the Commonwealth, Great Britain, India, name it. That's the kind of judiciary that, and as I said, as I joined, there was only one other woman. Until one day, I remember, by that time we were already now in the High Court, and I remember one of the judges, I think he was British, he said, "Thank God there are only two of you here." He was so loud. But anyway, I recognize senior counsel because he appeared before me several times. And we all, when he was coming, you had to create space because of his books. Create space, where was he going to put the books? Other than him, I recognize only one other counsel, I don't know whether he's in still, who also appeared before me. So that is enough to show you just how old I must be now. Don't worry, I'm on the 7th floor, so it's okay. But civil procedure, I was very happy when he talked about substantive law, isn't it? Yeah, because we have to base it somewhere. And thank you, Gladys, for what you've done. Now, as I said, because we are only two women, and it was like 10 years. And I'll tell you how eventually one day we had to go and plead. We had to walk, well, not walk, but eventually go to the big house to plead. And eventually we opened the door to many, many other women. We never ever saw it coming that one day there will be a woman Chief Justice. We never saw it because we struggled. But anyway, talking of substantive law, I want to say that, I want to recall that when let me just put it down. When we were in the High Court, the two of us, we used to have very long sessions to look at the law and say, is this working or not working? And if it's not, what can we do about it? We had such sessions. And most of these sessions surrounded mostly family law. I will not say much. Senior counsel talked about employment law, and somebody talked about other pieces of law, but I will talk a little about substantive law, which was a family law. And that was the time when with a lot of respect, a lot of people, a lot of men were doing business, were making money, and then were moving on, not realizing that there was, in the house here they had a wife, they were moving on. I don't know whether these words are taught to me by my children, moving on. But I think because you laughed, I think you understand what I'm talking about. So we said, look, how is it that we can, this is substantive law, and you need civil procedure and all that, but how can we just make a few changes to this substantive law? So, until 2014, when it comes to matrimonial property, I believe you can all remember, lawyers or judges, we were using the 1882 Married Women Property Act of England. The English themselves could not remember when they repealed it. But that is the law we were using in this country, 1882 Married Women Property Act. So the two of us sat down, Judge Ward and I, and we said, this cannot be. We have to do something to this substantive law, isn't it? Which can then be taken forward by civil procedure. So we made several trips. The Attorney General was the late Sir Charles Njonjo. he looked at us and he said, I actually don't know what the two of you are talking about. So we realized we're in the wrong platform. And it went on and went on and went on until the time of Amos Wako, Senior Counsel. When we talked, he listened and he said, so what exactly, how do you want to go about it? And of course we had been having discussions, so we had ideas of what we wanted. He said, if you created a task force and we got the views of women, I think we can get started. So that's what he did. We got views of women. He created a task force. I told Judge Owori, you know, you are senior, you chair that task force, and you know that I'm here with you. And then we brought in, not as the membership, then it was gazetted, and we started working, and we worked very closely with FIDA, Federation of Women Lawyers. And we had, we went round consultations, exactly what I'm doing now in South Sudan, but that is not on the Marriage Act. South Sudan, I'm reforming the judiciary. That's the reason why I'm there many times to reform the judiciary. And I do a lot of public consultations. So at the end of it all, that was a task force. At the end of it all, we produced a report. And that report is what resulted in what today we have as the Marriage Act, number 4 of 2014, and what I have here, the Matrimonial Property Act. But before I get there, I'll tell you, because the law was, I told you it was 1882. That was the law that was being used in this country. The owners of the law could not remember when they ever repealed it, but we were using it. Senior Counsel, am I right? Yes? He nods his head, he says yes. So, what we did was we started talking to our brother judges. Because we are two men, our brother judges, that look, there was so many chaos in a lot of, wealthy families. And we started telling our brothers, look, this law, this English law that requires financial contribution by a woman, where are our women going to, how are they going to talk about financial contribution? We have to think of a way out, because this isn't working. And a lot of, in the unfortunate case of breakup of marriage, and a lot of such cases were thrown out because there was no evidence that she made financial contribution. So the two of us started saying, look, a woman who is sitting at home, breastfeeding, looking after the family, is she not making any contribution? So slowly we started talking, and then we started talking to our brother judges. My brother, I don't know whether you are probably in high school. Sorry, I'm talking history. But you are coming up. So that's why the reason I'm going to that is because when eventually the Matrimonial Property Act number 40 of 2013 was eventually passed into law, and I'll just read out to you the interpretation. What is contribution in a marriage? They didn't use our words because we were using breastfeeding, what have you, and we managed to convince our brothers. And now we started working on the Court of Appeal judges. Both of us were now in the High Court. And when the law came out, what is contribution in a marriage? It means domestic work and management of matrimonial home. Child care. I'm glad they found very good words for it and not breastfeeding. Child care, companionship. Waziz, you're coming from work. Senior Counsel, Gladys. The Wazir is coming from work. Here we are providing companionship. All these things. When you look at the Matrimonial Property Act, please look carefully at interpretation. What is contribution in a marriage? And that's why I carried this. I'm putting, I am not making it up. Child care, companionship. So you're not doing it for nothing. Mzee has come back busy the whole day. You're not doing it for nothing. When there is an issue, it is going to make up your contribution in a marriage. Management of family business or property and farm work. And then marriage business, family business is run for the benefit of the family. Because before, you could, as a woman, you played no part, no role. And when we went to, as we were doing participation, it was the women, but in Nyeri, half the field was filled by men. But in Nyeri, we had to go, in central Kenya, we had to go because there was a particular complaint by the women that farm work, we work hard, we are the ones who take, the coffee and what have you. And then when we take it, we are asked for, okay, where's the title deed? And I say, the woman will say, what do you mean title deed? What's that? What's the title to the land? He said, Mzee must be having it. Okay, go and bring it before you can be paid. So this was a big issue, and we held a big rally. What's that stadium in Nyeri? It was full, not just by the women, but by the men. We were explaining all this. So it's good that these things eventually found themselves into law, isn't it? They were from the ground, they were from women, and then the civil procedure comes on, but this is substantive law. And we were out to do all this in as many parts as possible. And then that was the Matrimonial Property Act. Then we come to the Marriage Act, number 4 of 2014. These are things that had been issues, and we decided to put them into context. If you look at the interpretation to that act, what is to cohabit? And by the way, it is when all these things were going on that we are in a task force and we are going around, or sometimes we are here, but Judge Owora and I would sit very long hours, and she was totally against just going. And she's the one who actually created this one, Come We Stay. She would say, these young people, they just find themselves on the road and say, Come We Stay. But that's where that word originated from. But here, the Marriage Act, this is what it calls. It means to live in an arrangement in which an unmarried couple live together in a long-time relationship. That resembles a marriage. Come We Stay. So, what we used to talk about and how we wanted to streamline the law, fortunately, eventually, it came out. And then it also defines monogamous marriage. And I've had a lot of people complain and say in Kenya they recognize polygamy. But monogamous marriage is here. A marriage whose character has been converted to a monogamous marriage by a declaration, previously polygamous marriage can be converted into a monogamous marriage. And polygamy, that is the state or practice of a man having more than one wife simultaneously. That's the word the law uses, simultaneously. See your name at the same time. Just look at these pieces of legislation, please. And then, of course, before this act, we used to have how many forms of marriage? African, Christian, and Marriage and Divorce Act. That's the act under which I was married 52 years ago. The Marriage Act, the customary law, all these forms of marriage. But they were all repealed, and now, now we have one piece of legislation, the Marriage Act. Before we used to carry how many? 5, isn't it? So that's a development in law that now the procedure has to capture. So a Christian Hindu civil marriage, those are monogamous marriages. A marriage is celebrated under customary law or Islamic law, those are presumed to be polygamous or potentially they are or potentially polygamous. And then there's the conversion of marriage. I just picked a few that we talked about. We wrote report and we put it to those who are reforming the law and say these areas are problematic. Look at them, and this is how they have dealt with it. And then conversion of marriages, but then it says a polygamous marriage may not be converted to a monogamous marriage unless at the time of conversion of the marriage, the husband has only one wife. But it doesn't explain where the others are or what happened to the others. Anyway, arrangement to live apart. I didn't know this until I looked at the act that you can arrange, husband and wife, you can arrange to live apart for 1 year. And then, formalize that living apart for 1 year. But I haven't quite met anybody who has used that. Have you? You haven't. Okay. The parties to a civil marriage, that is a monogamous marriage, may agree to live apart for 1 year, and any such arrangement shall be valid and enforceable and shall be filed in the court. And then it gives rights of a widow and a widower. This was very problematic during our time. Because I remember once there was a suit filed by brothers-in-law, because their sister-in-law, who was now a widow, was planning to get married, but the act now makes it very clear. A widow, a widower, they are free to get married once their spouses have died. So this is something that, this is a law that occasionally you refer to it, especially you practitioners when clients come to you. And then the development in another substantive piece of legislation was the Succession Act. Succession Act has been amended several times, or at least substantially amended. And Succession Act became very prominent, especially during the HIV and AIDS pandemic. I was in the High Court. And at the beginning, before it was contained, it was like, father, mother dead, husband and wife dead. And the children cannot continue going to school because fees has to be paid. And the banks would tell most of the people, we need a letter. I don't know why the bank used to call it a letter from court, instead of just saying you need an order from court. So many people came to the court looking for this document. Can you give us a letter to take to the bank so that we can pay school fees? And I would tell them, no, it's not a letter. It's a document, a grant of probate or a grant of letters of administration intestate, where there's no will. So I remember then almost the same time, I think that's when I established the Kenyan family division I established. There was need for it and I established the family division. And it's still up and running. Isn't it, my brother? So I think what I did was I was quite energetic. I went to the University of Nairobi and I spoke to the dean and I said, if it was today, you students, I would have asked for you. I asked the dean, can you give me a group of students, please, so that I can explain to them, because litigation under Succession Act is basically by statutory forms. My brother, am I right or not? Statutory forms. And you will find them at the back of the Succession Act. Statutory forms. A form for this, a form for applying for this, a form, you are nodding, am I right? So it means I don't have to come to you to council for you to fill these forms for me if I'm able to. So I got these students so that they could help. But before I got the students, I went to the government printer. That is how active I was. I didn't know I would reach this 7th floor. I went to the government printer and I said, listen, can you print for me bulks and bulks and bulks of statutory forms for applying for a grant with a will annexed or with. So that was done. And now, because I was in charge of family division, I said, let's have them in the family division registry. So I got the students, and they were very happy to do it. I had a session, two sessions with them, and I explained to them, and I said, look, I'm putting these benches here. You will sit here and explain to those members of the public who cannot afford lawyers. If they have a child who can write, to complete these forms, and then it's filed in the court registry. And that's how a file is opened under succession, isn't it? I believe I'm still right. It's how many years back, but I'm still right, because that's what I did physically. It was just very unfortunate that after some time, unknown to me, one day the registry staff came and said, Judge, we have a big problem. I said, really? In relation to what? To the forms that were brought from the government printer, because I made them, I put them at completely nominal price, because I was thinking of my, I was thinking of my aunt, my mother, my uncle, who cannot afford a lawyer, and yet they have to get this legal document to be able to continue their life or pay school fees. But unknown to me, senior counsel, some of your colleagues, I was given the names, but I can assure you I will not repeat them. They went to the registry and they purchased everything, because I think how much money did I put on each? They purchased everything. They purchased all the forms. And anyway, that was a setback, but that's what happened. So this is where we are coming from to be able to be where we are today and continue with what you have done, my dear. Very good what you have done. And then, as everybody was talking, one thing that I didn't hear is judge's discretion. You know, as you see him sitting here, yes, very wide discretion. And don't you, my brother? Judges have discretions, but sometimes those discretions you can make a discretion, you can make an order, exercise your discretion, but later on sometimes you can almost be injured for it, like I was once, almost. It was a civil matter. I'll tell you, I'll stop after it. It was a civil matter. I was the vacation judge. You know, normally when you're a vacation judge, my brother is still saying you are alone.
Yes.
Thank you. It's still the same. I was a vacation judge, and it was August. And in the morning, I have, you are one judge, so you have like this number of files. So you have to come early because you are reading. And then when I reached, one by one people, lawyers come in one by one. But this lawyer was, now he's senior counsel, but that time he was a young lawyer. And I'm sure he doesn't mind me repeating this because he himself has repeated. That was Donald Kipkorir. Now he came with a matter. First of all, it took a long time for me to accept a matter that was from Mombasa to be. My brother is, am I not right? Because there are judges all over. So I said, why is this file here? And then when I read it, I said, okay. So when he came in, with husband and wife and 2 children, what struck me was that these children were in their pajama night, pajamas. So I said, what is this scenario about? He said, Dad, it is true this couple is from Mombasa, and by that time the investigating officer had explained, because I demanded that he comes to explain to me first. He had explained that we have a matter from Mombasa, we traveled the whole night to bring this matter, blah, blah. So I said, okay. He said, Donald says, Judge, this is a family. Yesterday, so-and-so came, I'm going to tell you his name, so-and-so came, went to their house, they had a deal, I think maybe a deal went sour. They were doing business. And so-and-so went to their house, got them out of the house, asked for the keys of their house, locked the doors of each and every room, locked the main door, locked the gate, took all the cars, and left them outside. And I was very strict on ex parte orders. If you got an ex parte order from me, it's like you got 100 over 100. So I said, what happened? He said he left them out, and they all went to the police, the family, husband, wife, 2 children, they went to the police station, and blah, blah, and that is how eventually they came to Nairobi. So I said, okay, and I said, okay, this is what it is. I said, you are a young lawyer. He was still young, actually. He was very new in practice. He was young. I said, you are a young lawyer. You probably don't know that I don't entertain ex parte orders, because my belief was that inherent in an ex parte order is an element of injustice. So I was very slow in granting ex parte orders. But I said, under these circumstances, I am granting an order that this, despite that, I'm still saying that this matter must be served, but blah, 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 I granted, trying to restore the situation. So the following morning, I'm still alone, I'm the vacation judge. Before I started work, my clerk tells me there's a lady here, and I think she's an MP. I said, really? At this time of the morning? She says she has to see you. It's very urgent. I said, okay, if it's urgent, let her tell her to come in and come with her. So when she came in, she was a nominated member of parliament with no names. That's so many years back. So she then said, Judge, could you ask your clerk to leave the room? I said, my clerk? What has he got to do with this? Because we are going through files. He said, please ask him to leave the room because of what I want to say. I said, no, just say it when he's here. So he said, Judge, yesterday you had a matter. I said, you know, I'm the vacation judge, and I think I had about 20 files. So when you just say I had a matter, he said, Judge, you had a matter. The accused or the suspect was called Ibrahim Akasha. I said, really, let's go through the file. I said, okay. And that matter was from Mombasa. So I said, I didn't know you were a lawyer. Are you his lawyer? He said, no, I'm not his lawyer, but I just came to tell you that he's sick. He's in Nairobi hospital. So I got up from my chair, I opened the door, and I told that anybody who has come for this case, can you come in? Because I wanted her to repeat what she had told me. So I told her, okay, now you can repeat what you're saying. So she didn't repeat. Her lawyer, Ibrahim Akasha's lawyer came in. I will spare him, he's an old man now, I will not tell you his name. But Donald just said it because he has repeated this case several times. He says, this is the case that made me, so he repeats it. So I said, okay. The lawyer came in and said, yes, Judge, it's true that he's sick. And there were 7 of them for Akasha. I said, okay, fine. I will hold all of the other matters. We are going to Nairobi also now. Because yesterday I said that he will produce. So if you are not the lawyer and you are not producing it, we are going now. So he said, Judge, please, can I explain? So this is, you know, when you exercise that discretion as a judge, my brother will agree, isn't it? So anyway, you know, this and this and this, submissions and what have you. And I said, yesterday I made some orders. Have you read them? Yes, they have been given to me. And I told him that's why I wanted to see him personally. That this be done, be restored, what have you. Because the business deal, whether it went sour or not, what did he have to do with the family and lock them outside their gate? He left them standing. You must have once upon a time heard of somebody, Ibrahim Akasha. I'm talking about the Muse, not these children who had problems and were jailed in America. So anyway, the lawyer told me, he's a very senior lawyer, he's still alive, a very senior lawyer, that's why I'm sparing him. So he said, Judge, these are the orders you made. We are sending, I've already sent somebody to Mombasa to open the gate, open the doors, do everything. I said, how can I be sure that my orders, anyway. I said, okay, tomorrow I want even Donald to confirm. So eventually, anyway, everything was restored. And by that time, the week where I was vacation judge is coming to an end, and everything was restored. So I believe the next judge, the following week, took over. I don't know what happened. But little did I know that about 2 months after that, I would have an incident. This same man whom I wanted to see and who was supposed to be sick in Nairobi Hospital, one day I'm walking from the high, you know, when you're facing the city hall, and I just hear, excuse me, Dad, excuse me. So when I look back, I think he realized I was going to get into the next shop, into a shop, because it was lunchtime and I was walking. Really, are we not? As a judge, are we not allowed to walk, my brother? So when he eventually caught up with me, I was just at the, like I'm here and this is the doorstep of Wairimu's shop. That's when he said, excuse me, because he realized I was going to get into that shop. So I looked at him, he said, Judge, my name is Ibrahim Akasha. I have been looking to see how I can get hold of you, because no judge has ever made an order against me. But you are the first and you did it. So I want to know why. So he said, no, you don't have to, you don't have to be scared, because today I'm not armed. I'm not armed today, so you are basically, you are okay. So of course I screamed. What would you do? I screamed when he said who he was, and when he told me he's not armed today. He said, normally I'm armed all the time, but today I don't have my pistol with me. So what does that mean? So anyway, when Wairimu came, she also screamed and he was telling him, okay, if you're Akasha, you have to shoot both of us together. He said, I've already told the judge I have no gun today. I'm not armed. But anyway, before we realized that then Commissioner, at that time they were called Commissioner of Police. You remember, what was his name again? Before we realized he arrived on the scene. And it was a big thing, big. So as judges exercise their discretion, these are some of the things that can happen to a judge. My brother, I hope you haven't had that experience. Don't have that. Make sure that lunchtime, if you have to get out, go with somebody. But this was a long time ago. Anyway, fortunately, by the time I was going to The Hague, which was 2009, in fact, I was told, Mr. Kiruki, you remember Kiruki? He was the commissioner of police then. He arrived on the scene himself with his team. I don't know who called them anyway. So by that time he was in Amsterdam, and of course you know the Hague is in Amsterdam, in Hague, Netherlands. But it didn't take long, and unfortunately in another bad deal, I understand he lost his life. So these are some of the things that judges come across. And we just need the kind of thing you've done, procedures, and this and that. And I can go on and on, but I will not because time is limited. But I wanted to just share with you the developments that we brought to the law. Just, you only need 1 or 2 women. We were just 2. And that is what we were able to do, and I'm so glad that later on in life, many years later, they were captured and you can find them into pieces of legislation. We are always very proud when we lift these acts and say, okay, this is what we did on this day, and it found the light of the day. So thank you for inviting me. Very well done. Continue writing more books. I can't promise you that I've finished any. But all these things I'm now sharing with the judges in the South Sudan because they need help, and that's why I was found out to go and reform the judiciary of South Sudan. That's what I do. I travel up and down. I don't live there all the time. So very best of luck, and have a very good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Please, let's appreciate their support. I think at times, as she sits down, when the young ones, like when I think it would be wrong if I start thinking about retiring. Yeah, she's on the 7th floor and she's changing the perspective of the judicial engagements in Southern Sudan at 70. And I remember there is a journalist from CNN who was called Larry King. And at the time, he said, hi, my name is Larry King. And you're watching CNN, 50,000 interviews, and I'm still warming up. I think, Honorable Lady Justice Joyce Watch, I think you're just warming up in Southern Sudan. Let's appreciate that once again. Thank you very much indeed. And now I'd like to invite or call upon my colleague in the sense of moderating. His name is Advocate Kimathi Kamencho. Let's appreciate him as he comes. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for our MC. My role is fairly simple. It is to handle a plenary Q&A, and we have limited time. So into 2 sections. The first will be a Q&A in terms of acknowledgements, where I will speak and you will answer by your actions, and it will soon become apparent how that will be done. The second part of it will be to afford audience to 2 students, and I say specifically students because they do not automatically have a right of audience before the learned justice of appeal. We will be affording them a right of audience during this engagement that we have here. But the first session is one for acknowledgements, and I would like, first of all, because I will be asking the question and then asking you to stand, I would like to ask any person who has been taught by the author, Gladys Mwangi, please rise up. Please stand up. Anyone who has been taught by Gladys, we want to acknowledge you, please. Thank you. Round of applause for all those. Well done. Well done. You may have your seats. All right. Any people who have taught with Gladys, in other words, fellow members of faculty, I request that you all rise up. Fellow members of faculty and also university colleagues. I think Kamafula and all university colleagues, please as well. Very well, thank you. We acknowledge you. Thank you, Agwana Ratemo, who was here with us. Any people who are part, and you heard from one of those who came earlier, any people who are part of Gladys social network, and this is excluding family because there will be a time for family. Any persons who are members of Gladys social network, please rise up. Watu wa chama pia wanaitikiwa kuja hapa hivi. Well done. You may have your seats. I would also want to recognize any family members. Do we have any family members of Gladys present here? Family members? There's a sister, right? Very well, well done. Thank you very much. Now, there are two categories of people who I would want to recognize. The first category of people is any person who saw Gladys, and she was not called Gladys at the time, her name was Glado, that was what we would call her in university. Any person who was in university with Gladys, please rise up. Whether she was in 4th year when you were in 1st year, please rise up. All those who are in university with Gladys, you can see they are present. And I would request everyone else to sit down, other than those who were in the same class as her, who joined on October 16th of 2000. Please remain standing. The ones who joined with her, the same class. Same class, October 16th, 2000. And I'd like to specifically recognize them as counsel. Immediately behind her is Moses Chege Njoroge. An intriguing story is that when we were in 1st year, he had lost a book, a Tada Jackson book, and he couldn't pronounce it. From that point in time, he was called Tada. That is his name. Tada Jackson. You can take your seat in Njoroge. The second gentleman is the Silver Fox, one Colbert Ochiambo, who was once engaged with Professor Okidi in a very interesting conversation, another classmate of Gladys. The other one there is Susan Munene, who is right there. And I should have mentioned both Moses and Colbert are practitioners in the city, as is Susan in the firm of Jerivia Advocates. Susan, we recently found out when you send M-Pesa, there's another name than the one you have been using. So we now know your other name. You know, you live your whole life thinking that the judge here is called Justice Odunga. Then you send him M-Pesa and you find he's called George Museveni Odunga. Very well, you may sit, Susan. And finally, and I've left certainly the most significant for last, that was our class representative for 4 years. She's a senior tax expert, and she works with East African breweries. Her name is Maureen Abutu. Thank you. You may be seated. Now is the time to hear the questions, and I would like to invite two students to the front, in no particular order, to pose questions of their choice regarding the book, not any other questions. Regarding the book, there are certain questions we do not want to fill. So do we have any student volunteers who will come to the front to pose the questions? We are running short of time, so I would like to invite. Do we have any student reps? Madam Anne is not a student rep. Yeah, she was walking in. Do we have any? Any students who would like to ask a question? All right. None? Okay. Do we have any? There's one right here. All right. Please come to the front. This question will be fielded by Justice Odunga.
I was supposed to ask for your book. All protocols observed. My name is Monique Brown. I'm a student of Miss Gladys, and she's a very interesting lecturer at that. My question was actually supposed to be a basic question because I love ordering books myself. I'm ordering a book myself right now. So I wanted to ask, how long did it take you to compile the whole book?
We will ask Justice Odunga because he has written a book. How long did it take you to write a book? Please come. A question by Maniki. Please, and it is rare that we as practitioners are allowed to summon judges, so I consider this a singular honor.
To be quite honest, I don't know. The reason why I don't know is that that digest was not supposed to be a book. It was basically I just the material I used to jot down for my own use. It was not meant to be published. But because a number of practitioners knew that I had something that I was using myself, somebody sniffed to the publishers, Law Africa, and told them that there's some advocate in Kisumu who has some very good material on civil procedure. Can you please have a look at it? So the gentleman came, I gave him the material that I had, and before I knew it was a book. So I can't say how long it took me to write it because it was not meant to be written anyway. And I've been telling people who want to write books, don't sit down and say that I want to now start writing chapter 1 and chapter 2 and chapter 3 and chapter. Write anything that comes to your mind. Have a notebook. Work with it. Anytime an idea comes, write it down. Not in any particular order. That will become the book. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. You know your book is Judicial Hints on Civil Procedure. What you have just presented is Judicial Hints on Writing a Book. Thank you, Judge, for that. The next question will be fielded by Senior Counsel Kamau Kuria. So I want to invite one last student to ask a question so that we then invite our guest of the day. Do we have another student who would like to pose a question to Senior Counsel Kamau Kuria, who will answer the next question? Do we have any other? Going once, twice. Do you really want me to? There's somebody here. Okay, please come. Please come.
All protocols observed. My question was in relation of how do you strike a balance between the rules in civil procedures and Article 159 of the Constitution?
Senior, there are those who say you are a walking constitution.
I would say that it is a difficult question because a lawyer's stand is everything. The Constitution, civil procedure, and in fact when you are drawing up a plate, you look at the entire field of law as a field which is linked to the conditions you are doing. So, when I was in secondary school in the 1960s, my second book was A Man for All Seasons. And the main character was Thomas More. And he said, he's a master of law. No one can follow him there. So, if you are a lawyer, you must master all laws. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Counsel, who happened to also be Gladys' pupil master. Thank you, Senior Counsel, for those responses. Now, friends, for the two students who have asked a question, there is a little prize that I would like to give to you. One of my learned colleagues, Bwana Wanyama, has bought 2 books of civil litigation in Kenya, authored by Gladys Mwangi, and I would wish to invite our chief guest, Lady Justice Alwaj, and I'm really having fun that I'm inviting judges, I'm summoning judges. Someone a judge who has jurisdiction in Kenya, another one in South Sudan. To give to both Mwaniki and the other student, and I'll ask Wakili Wanyama, please, to do the honors. Please, Mwaniki, please. There are 4 books. There are 4 books. Well.
Wow, are they getting 2 each? So you go first, or she goes? Congratulations.
about discretion, you now have the discretion on how to give those books. You may exercise your discretion in chambers as you sit. Ladies and gentlemen, I would want to invite my colleague Jeff Njoroge, who will do the honors of inviting our guest of honor for today. So Jeff, over to you, Tafadhali.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege and honor to bring in an enthusiastic and highly skilled senior legal expert with 17 years experience in legal practice. She holds a Bachelor of Laws, LLB from the University of Nairobi, and a diploma in law from the Kenya School of Law. Ladies and gentlemen, she also holds Master of Laws, LLM in Law, Governance and Democracy from the University of Nairobi. In addition to being an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, she is a trained and accredited mediator. She is also a certified secretary, a commissioner for oaths and notary public. Now, she is a partner at Gladys Mwangi Advocates in charge of Dispute Resolution Department. She's also a lecturer at Kenyatta University School of Law and currently serving as the Deputy Director of Student Affairs. She teaches civil procedure and family law, among other courses. She is a member of the Law Society of Kenya, Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, ICMC, and Institute of Certified Secretaries, ISC. She has researched widely and is passionate about sharing legal knowledge, either through publications, teachings, or trainings. Her master thesis, titled A Review of the Threshold for Nullification of Elections in Kenya, is one of the widely created, or rather, one of the widely read research papers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be upstanding and welcome Gladys Mwangi!
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You may allow me, our chief guest, to adopt the protocols as earlier read in the interest of time. And before I address on the substance of why we are here today, allow me to appreciate and express my gratitude for your presence. I do not take it for granted that I can request 2 judges to come and be in our occasion today and return. In fact, I'm so grateful that you accommodated me. When I reached out to the chief guest, Lady Justice Ayud, she was actually in South Sudan. You can imagine the honor that she traveled and she still managed to come and join us. Thank you very much. Justice Odunga, you know, when you write your judgments, which we know the number of pages, we know what it takes. We appreciate the workload at the Court of Appeal, but you still have time to come to join us. We don't take it for granted. Thank you, our other chief guest. And allow me to give special acknowledgement to Senior Counsel, Dr. Dixon Kamakoria. This was my people master about 19 years ago. And after my pupillage, he allowed me to work in his chambers for almost 7 years. Can you now relate litigation and something? Yes. So he has remained a mentor, and I'm always looking out to him. Anytime I need guidance, and when I reached to him, when I walked into his chambers, by the way, Dr. Kuria still reports to his office around 6 a.m. If you want to see him, you must be in his office very early in the morning. So when I walked recently to his office and I told him I'm publishing a book, he was excited, and he said, I'll be there to support you. I also wish to appreciate my students, current and past. I'm excited by your love. As you heard them say, I have taught poets. And I do not take it for granted that it's actually through my teaching. And Justice Odunga has said, you do not sit and write a book in one day. It takes a lot of gradual. So as I research, as I go to class, as I put materials together, gradually you realize that you have accumulated a lot of knowledge which you can then decide this is worth sharing. So thank you so much, my students. And I know, let me take advantage of this moment to tell you that if our students come to your offices, knocking, seeking for opportunities, I can tell you we have the best. As you heard, I'm also privileged to be serving as the Deputy Director of Students Affairs in this school. That is issues of, actually, I said that I was kindly being asked to be these students' parents away from home because I'm careful and watch out on their discipline. So I can assure you they are very disciplined, well mentored. Kindly, when they come to you, be sure you're getting the best. So let me, in the interest of time, go briefly to this book and why I ordered it. Ladies and gentlemen, writing this book was largely motivated by my desire to share knowledge following more than 15 years of practicing law in Kenya and over 5 years of teaching civil procedure in this school, Kenyatta University School of Law. Over the years, civil litigation has evolved from a rigid process to a more flexible process where rules of procedure are applied towards achieving justice but not to punish parties who do not comply strictly with the rules. The book runs through the steps of civil litigation in Kenya, while at the same time examining how the rules of procedure are applied by the Kenyan courts on a day-to-day basis, from preliminary steps before filing a civil suit, drafting pleadings, filing, service, pre-trial proceedings, hearing all the way to delivery of judgments, execution, and appeals. Ladies and gentlemen, enactment of the 2010 Constitution had a great impact on the manner in which civil practice was being undertaken in Kenya. And you've heard Justice Odunga talking about Article 48 and 159. The overhaul of Civil Procedure Act and rules in 2010 was meant to align legal practice with the core requirements of the Constitution on access to justice and fair hearing. The Constitution requires justice to be accessible to all. Justice should not be delayed. Justice should be administered without undue regard to procedural technicalities, and alternative dispute resolution mechanisms should be promoted. The introduction of the overriding objectives of the Civil Procedure Act and rules was therefore one of the ways civil litigation was being aligned to the constitutional requirements. Courts are expected to interpret the Act and apply the rules in a manner that enhances just, expeditious, proportionate, and affordable resolution of civil disputes. In the book, I have deliberately incorporated pronouncements by courts on various issues that arise in civil litigation so that the readers may appreciate how the rules of procedure are applied and interpreted by the court in the course of civil litigation. The common thread in most of the pronouncements by the court is that courts today are more inclined to apply the practice rules in a manner that promotes access to justice and fair trial. Courts are cautious not to filter access to justice, while at the same time ensuring parties do not abuse the court process through disregarding with impunity rules of procedure. For instance, more often than not, courts will extend timelines set under the rules and directions where there is a good cause. Courts often allow amendment of pleadings. Courts are reluctant to strike out pleadings, and evidently, through the pretrial process, courts are fast-tracking pending cases to ensure their expeditious disposal. Adoption of technology has an immense impact on how civil litigation is taking place in Kenya today. All the way from filing pleadings, service, hearing and delivery of rulings and judgments, the courts in Kenya have made the use of technology, thus increasing efficiency. As much as possible, the Civil Procedure Act requires courts to ensure technology is adopted. Hearing matters virtually has reduced absenteeism in court attendances because parties and advocates are able to attend court without traveling long distances. Previously, insistence on personal service led to frustrations and waste of time because some parties would deliberately evade service. Introduction of new modes of service, such as use of email and mobile applications, has eased the work of process servers. Another major shift in civil practice in Kenya is promotion of alternative dispute resolution mechanism. The judiciary is more conscious in guiding parties on the available ADR mechanisms. Many matters which have been pending in courts for many years have successfully been resolved through ADR under the umbrella of court annexed mediation. Special thank you to Justice Odunga, who has been steering the committees and playing a great role in the development of court annexed mediation rules. The book briefly addressed the role of both advocates and court during civil trial. You will agree with me that the role of the court, and by the court I mean judges and magistrates, has also been changing over the years. Previously, we used to see judges and magistrates sitting behind their desks listening, taking notes, and thereafter delivering rules and judgments. Today, courts are more proactive and will actively put questions to counsel and litigants during trial. Justice Odunga, you mentioned this. Have we shifted from adversarial system to inquisitorial system, or are we in between? You will agree with me that this is an issue which requires robust discussion in future if another opportunity to discuss civil litigation arises. In fact, by this, what I'm alluding to is that you'll find, if I may use an example of the presidential election petition, which most of you may relate. I believe most of you may remember more of what the judges asked the litigants and the advocates than what the advocates submitted. So are we in a situation where the courts are more inquiring than sitting back to wait for parties to provide information? Judges here can tell us that, and Justice Odunga in the Court of Appeal, I give an experience I had the other day, that if you go to the Court of Appeal today, under section under 5A, counsel, you will spend the whole night going through your submissions, perusing and flagging the authorities. Then you will appear before judge, and while you are waiting to be given that means to highlight your submissions, the judge will tell you, counsel, I have your pleadings and submissions. I'll give you only 3 minutes. Tell me why this appeal will be read and nugatory if I don't grant you the orders. What does that mean? That the courts are no longer sitting back to listen to us as litigants. That they are proactive, and I believe judge, you'll appreciate that we need to have a robust discussion on today's role of the court, of the judge, as it is evolving slowly. The same judges will tell us, don't make your submissions more than 10 pages. In fact, she says sometimes 4 or 5 pages. But the same court will deliver 100 pages judgments. Where did they get all this information? Again, the role of the court. Are we seeing judges expressing themselves more? To what extent are judges now expressing their opinions in the judgments? So Judge, I hope you'll accommodate me next time I call you for a symposium on civil litigation so that we may interrogate more the role of the court today as it has evolved from what we've known from the past. So in a nutshell, I would say that when we talk about civil litigation or engage our minds on the developments that have taken place in civil litigation, we have to look at it from the broad context. The substantive law, as our Chief Guest has talked about, which in this case is anchored in our Civil Procedure Act, the rules of procedure, and the actual practice. The first two, law and the rules, are clear because anytime there are changes, they are documented in statutes. However, it is the practice that distinguishes the kind of legal practitioner you are today. Whether you are at the bar or at the bench. I believe it is prudent that we remain vigilant and on lookout to changes in our litigation process. If you want to, and what I believe the Dean from Rihanna was telling us that it's easy to read the Civil Procedure Act. It's documented. The rules are documented. What about the practice? You're not going to find under the Civil Procedure rules how to write good submissions, how to draft your issues in dispute. That is where the work is. As a student, as a scholar, as an advocate, that is where the work is. And as I've always told my students, they may tell you how many authorities I throw to them to read. Because from my experience, if you want to become a better practitioner, read rulings and judgments. Counsel, you will agree with me that we are victims of reading the last 3 lines of the judgment. When Justice Odunga delivers its 100-page judgment, because you don't have to invest time reading it, you go to see and find out, was the case allowed? But I can assure you, if you are keen and read those, see how the analysis of the facts and the rules is done. That's where you perfect your pleadings drafting skills. That's how you perfect your court presentation skills. And that's how you know how to write good submissions. And you also know what to expect. I remember my people master used to joke sometimes. He used to tell me, before a court, there's no small matter. Whether you are amending your pleadings, never make assumption. Prepare. We used to research on every application. Why? He used to tell us, you never know the questions the judge may put to you. You never know the objection that the other advocate may raise. And at times he will joke that at times you may not know the mood of the court on that day. Judge, you're always in good mood. So this book, therefore, in a simplified manner, and there's what I would call the modern civil litigation process in Kenya. It's a first edition which lays down the core principles, and hopefully the next edition will go deeper in examination of application of rules and jurisprudence from our courts on civil litigation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of humility, I wish to present to you the book titled Civil Litigation in Kenya. I hope it will find acceptance as a quality material for our young law students and scholars, and that it may serve as a suitable handbook for legal practitioners. I am grateful to all of you for taking time. In fact, I'm so excited to see that a good number of the people here are not lawyers. I've seen my clients, I've seen my friends, and allow me a little latitude, MC, to acknowledge members of BNI, Business Networking International. It's a group of business people. Because if you are a lawyer, and again has been alluded, you must be interested to know what are other people doing out there, how are they growing? After all, and these your clients. So don't be rigid, don't just network with your small legal circle. Go out there and you're going to learn a lot. I do not know what much more to say than to say I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful by your presence that, and I don't know that Mr. Wanyama is still here. He's one of the supporters of local authors. Anytime a new book is authored, I've seen him purchase books and donate them to schools. So your presence here is also an acknowledgement and appreciation of local authorship. In fact, in the course of my teaching, and Madam Anne Konuchi has stated, is the sad reality that you find in our law libraries, 99% of the books are authored by foreigners. Yet, we have our own special circumstances as a country. Judge has told us, in fact, one of the areas which is so specific to us is our cultures. Yet, we want to use laws which are written to people who have no idea about our cultures. So we must consciously decide that we have to document our books so that our legal scholars can benefit from what is within us and also be able to appreciate where we are coming from as a country. So thank you very much. To me, your presence here is not just coming to listen to our great speakers. I feel it's out of appreciation that you can appreciate ourselves, us as local authors can also document something worth your time and appreciation. So thank you very much. I do not want to keep you waiting because a lot has been said. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much indeed. Before we leave, we'd like to appreciate Aquarel. Please.
Whoever reaches here first. Now that she has come,
It's only fair. Yes. Thank you very much. Wonderful guest. So right now we're going to appreciate our sponsors. We have some very nice certificates. Perhaps my brother Advocate Kamenjo can kusaidiana hii mahali hapa. I would like to call the Honorable Judge Odunga to come and present one. And then the other one will be presented by our guest of honor. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite, these are very beautiful certificates you can see. Nicely done. Kenyatta University School of Law Certificate of Appreciation, proudly presented to Mr. Karaoke Kenywa, Chief Executive Officer, Litigation, Hospitality Solutions. Kenyatta University School of Law would like to thank you for your continued support as one of our valued partners. Signed by Dr. Richard Wafula, Executive Dean, Dr. Retemo Tommy, Deputy Executive Dean, and Miss Gladys Mwangi, Deputy Director, Student Affairs. Thank you very much. The next certificate will be presented by our guest of honor. Please, let's give a round of applause. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, goes to Aquawell Purified Drinking Water, Miss Jane Monyeri. Nice certificate in there. Asante sana. The next one we have for the, I'll give you a hint. It is a #1 hardware in Nairobi, ladies and gentlemen. To Miss Charity Kioko, Lavington Hardware, to be presented by Senior Counsel, Wilson Kabako. Please. Yes, today we've seen a dream come through for one of the Gladys. And so, I mean, right now she is an author. She's launched a book. So let's see her actualizing this dream to one gracious lady, Miss Lillian Gashoki, Chief, or if you like, the CEO, Dream Credits.
Ladies and gentlemen, now this is the time we've been waiting for. Sasa, it is now the time. Cometh the hour. Cometh the lady. Ladies and gentlemen, now DJ, let's do this. Let's all be upstanding. Where are those ladies? Where are they? Fadili, Asante Sana. Step up, step up, step up, step up. DJ, fanya maneno yako hapo. Let's do this, DJ. Let's do this. Let's go. A round of applause for the Alpha. I'm the chief guest. Yes. I just so look at this. Look at this. I need some help on this one. I need help on this one. Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? Can I hear some noise? What you're going to do, tuchukue simu juu ya hewa hivi and then unawashe taa ya simu. Yes. This night is going to create memories here. So each and every one, lift up your simu juu, lift up, put on the light. One time, two time, one big kelele. Teacher, let's do it. Let's do this. Where's the scissors? There you go. Got it out of there. Now blow it up. Blow it up. Blow it up. Champagne, ladies and gentlemen. The voice. Come here, so. If you know it, anyway. Hold it. What we're going to propose a toast here. So our guest of honor and the Alpha and all the guests actually, we are going to do a toast, all of us. Okay, so pass a glass to, thank you, the Dean. Good. We are just toasting. So now, what we're going to do, we lift up our glasses, okay? And this toast to knowledge, to inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, civil litigation in Kenya is officially launched. Salute! 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 DJ, if you can blow it up. We have some announcements to make, ladies and gentlemen. We have a photo session. A photo session at just across the road at the old lecture hall. Across the road at the old lecture hall, ladies and gentlemen.
We're just waiting up. I'm Peter Mwangi, as MC has mentioned, and I'm here to echo the family's appreciation and congratulations to Gladys. She's our last one, a family of 8, and the third one. And the last one in a family of 8, she's our last one, our dad's favorite, and she has done us proud. And you know, the parents of yesteryears didn't have a lot of problems to have many children because they could allocate. And I was lucky to be allocated Gladys on her university years because I was near Nairobi. And najua walikuwa nasema wewe ndio ndugu yako pale Nairobi uendelee na masomo. But I can attest that for the years and that chance I had to walk academic path with her, she didn't let us down. She covered the course well, and here she is, doing wonders. And as she was growing up, I knew she was to pull something special, but it came a bit early. So thanks so much on behalf of the family. And the much we can do is to stand with you, support you, so that you can always make your good better, your better best. And we are happy you have started giving back to society early enough. I think the work you have done writing a book at your age. I know most of people write a book during the twilight of their years, but she has decided to do it early enough so that the consumers can actually interrogate, so that they can help you actually to improve and work on other books in future. Because they say it's only the room of continuous improvement that never fits up. Myself, I'm a farmer, horticulturalist, and for so many decades I've been interacting with plants. And of course, plants don't appreciate Queen's English. they also don't appreciate smartware. But farmers are patient, and I can urge in that patience with even the upcoming young students. Let's be patient, like that one of farmers. You know, you see your crop coming, they disappear, then you start all over again, and then, until you get it. So therefore the young tax that are out, and looking at Gibson here, and I'm so happy that you prepared my sister. She's trying to give back to society. She's preparing my daughter Ivy. I don't know if she's here. She's also a young advocate. So she said she doesn't want to be a farmer like myself and follow the steps of the auntie. So this is what we can do. Just get hold of the young ones that are coming, work with them, the main people work with you. And now for those who want to farm, please come. I've seen lawyers who are doing great things in the industry of farming. Nowadays, farming is so enjoyable. It's smart farming, a lot of technology, so not digging and poking the ground. There are so many things you can do as a farmer. So as you work on that field of practices and advocacy and being the good learned friends, join us in the world of farming. They say in the next century, the biggest millionaires will be farmers. Because how do we feed the society? You guys are only in Nairobi, we are back in the farms, but you need food. So karibuni sana, na asante sana. The family is proud of you. And without taking the chance of a massive ceremony, I think from the family perspective, we appreciate having all these top legal minds seated around. And thank you for giving me a chance to interact with the baby I only see on TV. At least that what you have scored. Asante sana kwa kusimama na yeye na tuendelee kusimama na wengine, and life is good. Asante sana, Mungu awabariki. Thanks so much.
Asante sana mkulima number one. But now I wanted to ask you a question, my brother. You see, when I was introducing you here, I can see you're the operations manager, Flamingo Holdings Limited.
Yes.
What are you farming? You see, by virtue of the first name, perhaps, and you talked about smart farming, you can elaborate.
Yeah, Flamingo Holdings is based in Naivasha. It's one of the biggest companies doing flowers and vegetables for export. It has been in the industry for so many years, and it's doing well. And yeah, I can attest to that. I've been there for the last 17 years working with them and doing other things on my own, and I'm happy for them.
Thank you. For a moment, I thought you were farming flamingos right there, but anyway, it's flowers. Thank you very much indeed. I'll let you give us the vote of thanks.
Quickly, good evening, everybody. 1 minute only. The protocol has already been established, but I'd like to thank the guest of honor, Lady Justice Alovich. I think you have not properly been appreciated the work you've done in Kenya, the family division up to ICC. I've tried to read some of your judgments. Just one, following one case, the whole thesis. So thank you very much for all the things you've done and for coming today. So to be here, guest of honor, Radi moja, hebu chamusha mkono. Radi. Radi ni vipi? Alafu moja. So turudie hiyo moja ya Radi ya guest of honor, kindly tena tuchamusha moto. Thank you very much. We've never had the privilege of our seniors to appear before senior judges. So today is such an event. Thank you very much. Secondly, Justice George Odunga. Thank you for mentoring our colleague. We also have seen that you have done so much work. So again, this time is too short to say what we wanted to say. I hope we'll have other opportunities to put it in right. But to pay la ni moja Justice Odunga pia, tuchemushe kabisa mpaka ikwe moto. Haya, the president of the LSK absent, the Dr. Gibson Kamaukulia, tuwape in absentia, moto, moja. Ngoja, unarakisha, haya. There are other sponsors by names, na uzuri wamefanya mwa Kenya ikuwe rahisi. Aquel, Dream Credit, yes, tuwape kofi. Au sijui ni rasha kwanza, rasha, pole kwanza. Aya, tuchemshe kwanza kidogo. Aya, rasha. Aya. Excellent. There are colleagues of Gladys who have done so well to given her collegiality. I see some lecturers wanaficha uso wanaangalia chini. Nawaona, asanteni sana for all your support. When Gladys is late, anakuambia cover for me, hata leo tuseme asante. So tuwape hata waradi moja kubwa. Haya moja. And then for the students, we've seen many students cooperating, helping in this whole arrangement. Thank you very much, students, past, present, future. That's how to stop it. Radi tu moja, okay, Radi. Ngine. Kuna mtu nimesahau. Hata mimi hata mimi. Okay, mimi Radi.
Mimi nilisahau, lakini sawa kila saa. God bless you all. We are now going to proceed to the old school for the photo session. Asanteni sana, may God bless you. I'll be your MC, Chef Joroge. Tunafanya maharusi, social events and corporate events. Asanteni and may God bless you. Love you so much. See you at the next event. Asanteni sana. We are going across the road for the photo session. Asanteni.